Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to RetroIsland.com. The only site for everything retro. The Retro Island Network for everything retro. RetroIsland.com.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of I Got Gameplay. And I'm one of your hosts, Xander Scullion, and I'm joined here tonight with the wonderful Michael Burhan. What's up, Mike?
Great! It's awesome. It's amazing, and I have a crying child next to me who seems to be getting annoyed. So, segue on, Xander, segue on.
But yeah, we're joined with you, Michael Burhan. We're also joined with the rose-colored reviews man himself, Travis Goss. What's up, Travis?
How's it going, everybody?
Going quite well. And we're also joined with Nick, also known as Nick T. Wolf.
How's it going?
And we're also joined with Zach LaCour. He's one of the hosts of Getting Your Nerd On. What's up, Zach?
What's up, motherfuckers?
Awesome. And we have a very special show tonight because we have someone that's going to be taking the realms of the hosting challenges of IGG. We're going to be joined with none other from Happy Console Gamer, Rob Man himself. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. While my son sits here crying, I think we should go over onto the news, of course. So let's do that. So what's in the news this week? So Mr. Xander Scullion, what's in the news this week?
Well, one thing I wanted to talk about, and coincidentally, this is going to be really cool because of Robman being on the show tonight, and that is a new 3DS game put up by Keiji Mifune called, and I'm sorry if I totally mispronounce this, but it's like Azure Striker Gunvolt. It's going to be coming out for the 3DS, and it looks freaking awesome. It looks almost like more of like a Mega Man Zero type game. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that game, I've seen pictures of that, and it is going to be amazing. I mean, we're going to be treated with Mighty Number 9, then we have this coming out as well. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Mighty Number 9 is supposed to be coming out in 2015. That's what it was according to the Kickstarter, and yeah, I'm still looking forward to that, and there's been a lot of updates on the Kickstarter on what's going on, and if you guys want to know more about Mighty Number 9, they also have a podcast that's been broadcasting called the Mighty Number 9 podcast, like Mighty Podcast, and they've had a couple of different developers as the guest on there. They've had Keiji Mifune on there as, you know, being interviewed, and it's really cool, and it's really starting to really shape up to this game that it's become one of my most anticipated titles that I've really been looking forward to. So I'm really looking forward to that.
It's going to be...
And saying about the fact as well, he's doing that new Ninja Gaiden game as well, isn't he? What's it called? Yorubi?
Yeah, and actually, that's going to be. They're saying that's going to be Mighty Number 9's first appearance. It's going to be in the new Ninja Gaiden game. Apparently, you can unlock a skin for Mighty Number, like for Becker. So that's really cool.
That is awesome.
Okay, so segue.
I think I might be back. Am I here?
Yes, you are.
Oh.
Sorry about that, folks. Oh, sorry. Now, I think I'm... hello. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt the flow. I finally fixed my technical difficulties, and I am here.
Awesome.
So, yeah, that new game from Inti Creates that Inafune is helping with looks unbelievable. It's going to be, as Xander was saying, I mean, it looks like a spiritual successor to Mega Man Zero, and yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because it's a really cool looking. If people haven't seen the trailer, go to YouTube and check it out.
Now, is there what's the release date on that?
I don't think they have one yet, as far as I know. They've just done the first tease, so it's still in development.
Yeah, they said it's going to be available for digital download only.
Yes, it will be digital download only on the 3DS system.
Nice.
I still can't wait. And also, I did have another set of news that I'm really excited about, and I really hope this gets lifted off. But I know all of you guys must be huge fans of WayForward Studios. Well, WayForward right now is trying to pitch an idea to Konami of bringing a new 2D Castlevania, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Which I thought was really interesting because I remember the last episode of IGG, I was talking about how Konami mentioned that as long as Mercury Steam is a part of the Castlevania name, that they are no longer thinking of making another 2D Castlevania. They don't think it's profitable. So I'm really excited. If they make a new 2D Castlevania with WayForward, I think that's the studio to do it.
Well, considering what they did with Alien Infestation, that is going to be delightfully heavenly. Oh my God.
That game is so good. I love Alien Infestation.
So taking that and giving WayForward the reins on our 2D Castlevania, I think my brain would explode.
Yeah, they also did an amazing job with the Adventure Time game, Hey Ice King, Why'd You Steal Our Garbage?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, they were also behind the new, the HD version of DuckTales and the Shanty game that was on Kickstarter. I mean, they really have a love. Oh, sorry about that.
No, that's
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, they're also responsible for Contra 4.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There was another Contra game? I never knew that.
Yeah, it came off of the DS, about 6 years ago, I think.
And true to the Contra legacy, it was balls hard.
Mm-hmm.
And it also incorporated both screens, so basically enemies could fly up into the top screen, and if you're running along the bottom, the bullets traveled through both screens as if it was one extended screen.
Oh, nice.
That just sounds awesome.
Viciously hard.
And another great thing about that is, if you are very dedicated to the game, you also unlock Contra and Super C.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that game was really tough. But yeah, I mean, I think I really became a big fan of WayForward. I really think they're a company that really thrives and want to pay tribute to the games that we love, you know. And when I heard a possible 2D Castlevania, I already had so many ideas going through my head. One idea that I would really love for them to do is a prequel to Aria of Sorrow, and that is the grand 1999 war of Julius Belmont versus Dracula, and that was pretty much the last Dracula fight in the Castlevania canon at that time before Lords of the Shadows and everything reboot. I would love to see a game made from that, and I think they would do a great job.
But would you call Lords of the Shadows actually a reboot? Because didn't they tie the whole sort of Castlevania history into Lords of the Shadows too?
Yeah, basically. I don't want to give too many spoilers here. Has everyone here played the game, or are they interested in?
Yeah, I haven't finished Lord of Shadows 2 yet, but I've been playing it.
You played the first one, though, right?
Yeah.
Did you watch after the credits?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you know what I'm about to say. So for anyone that doesn't want spoilers, plug your ears and say la 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 for the next 30 seconds.
Okay, before you do that, I just want to say one thing. I love these games. I have not played Lords of Shadow, so someone send me a message when it's all clear, okay?
Yeah,
All
we'll
right.
do.
Thanks.
So basically, are we good? We're good? We're good? Okay. Lords of Shadow, the end of it, they basically tell you that Gabriel Belmont becomes Dracula. So that ties the entire Belmont clan's history of fighting him into why Dracula's obsessed with the Belmonts, why they're the ones that can fight him, and what their bloodlines are, what that means. So, wow. So yes, it does tie those series together.
Yeah, because they had that DLC basically after the previous Lords of Shadows game as well to sort of tie that into how he became like the Dark Lord.
And then they've got DLC coming to Lords of Shadow 2 where you can play Alucard.
Yeah, which seems really, really cool.
Yes. So anyway, we can give the all clear now. I think we're done with spoilers.
Did Travis do the whole no, I'm not listening?
No, I think he just muted.
So I've just texted all clear. We should be good. Yeah, no worries, Travis. We don't want to ruin that for you.
No, that is
I appreciate
really cool.
that very, very much because I've yet to experience this game, so I very much appreciate that.
Well, I actually recently picked up the because I lost my save data for completing the first one on my PS3 Fat Boy, the 60 gig that died. So sad. But I picked up the Castlevania Lords of Shadow HD recently for like dirt cheap. Found it used, and it's got both Lords of Shadow and an HD version of Mirror of Fate.
Ooh,
And all of the DLC from the first game. So I'm looking forward to going through it again.
What did you think of Mirrors of Fate?
I haven't even touched it yet, so I don't know. I'm still working my way through the first one again because I want to, because this is on 360 instead of PS3, so I want to unlock all the achievements and do all the good stuff with that. Then move on to Mirror of Fate so I can be ready for Lords of Shadow 2. Woohoo!
Nice.
So.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, the last bit of news that I heard today, I actually heard it on my way home, was the possibility that Sony is going to be raising the price of the PS4 in Canada.
Yep.
Yep, they are. It's going to be up to $450.
Well, the only thing I can say to Sony about that is this.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say betrayal.
I was expecting it too.
Well, Burhan's not in Canada, so it's not betrayal to him.
Yes, it's not betrayal to me, but for those...
Oh, thanks for the solidarity, bruv.
Well, for those people of Canada, I will give this to just...
Betrayal! Betrayal! Betrayed me!
There you go.
All I had to say was this.
What?
Hubert. I love that game.
I just do. This is the funny thing, that little thing just has that little box come up to it like he's swearing. My dad always used to think that he said cunts, but still.
I got the arcade game and on the PS3 does, and one of the it actually sounds like at one point he does say bullshit.
Nice.
But yeah, that's all my news. That's all the news I have for you guys.
Well, let's move on to Zach then. Zach, what news do you have for us?
Yeah, I'm actually. Is everyone on Facebook right now? Because I'm on a phone, so I'm going to send you guys the link to this through Facebook.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not on Facebook right now just because I don't want to screw up my Skype.
Well, I
Okay.
will get that link and send it.
It's coming to everybody. There you go. I'm sending it to Robman too. I'm sending it to everyone. So okay. So this, I guess, is the idea of leaked image of. I didn't even know Amazon was making. Is this supposed to? I don't even know. What is this? Things? What is this? I don't even know. So it says rumors about Amazon's entry into the game console.
It's what they call a micro console. It's the same thing like what the Ouya's doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's basically and it's a weird thing as well. Apparently, there's a Ouya app available that will be able to be playable on this console.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense because then that doesn't make me want to buy an Ouya, does it?
Yeah. Well, Ouya is not a thing anymore.
Well, basically, yeah, this is the Ouya killer because it's way cheaper and it'll run all of Ouya's stuff.
Yeah. That's just like, yeah, we just made you cheaper and we run all your stuff and our controller actually looks kind of sexier. So.
Well, I will say something about the Ouya that I found out recently that really makes me want one. And we all know that Ouya is basically a small emulation box. I mean,
Yeah, of course.
that's pretty much what it is. Well, there's an app on it called the Nostalgia app that you can actually put on there, and what it does is it organizes all your ROMs with the original cover art, and it adds like little like borders of like Super Nintendo, if you're playing Super Nintendo games, or Sega Genesis. It looks so sleek, and that really made me be like, I really want to.
I saw that, and it did look really good. I won't lie.
I have to
But
admit,
of course, if you could get this Amazon box and then run that Nostalgia app on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
'cause
just forget
oh,
about
yeah.
the Ouya.
it does run like Android, because the similarities between these consoles, and the one thing that I think one console does to sort of make the other console redundant is it does the same things. It runs on the Android platform. It does all the same things in the tin that the Ouya does, and Ouya also has their own app that can be run on these consoles. I do like the way that the pad looks. It reminds me of an old Xbox 360 pad.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But saying that, so what's everybody's opinion, apart from the fact that it's probably going to kill the console dead in its tracks?
I mean, if it handles the way they're saying it, and if it can run the Nostalgia app, I'm all about it.
Very, very true.
See-
Yeah, go.
Oh, I was just going to say, personally, I don't know if I'm going to get one of these. I don't know if I'd want an Ouya either, because I just plan on getting a Retron 5.
Oh man, do you have yours pre-ordered?
No, I didn't know they were up for pre-order yet.
They're up for pre-order on Amazon, and I pre-ordered mine, and I just got an email about a couple of weeks ago that they still don't know when it's going to come out. Like Amazon pretty much emailed me saying in the email, pretty much saying like, I'm sorry it's taken so long. If you want to back out, I understand.
Sounds like it just sounds like it's dating you, doesn't it? It's like
Yeah. But I mean, I'm really
it's
looking
not
forward.
you, it's me.
I'm really looking forward to the Retron 5. That's
If
gonna
it's
be
anyone, it's me.
if
that's a
I
sign.
mean like
It's a sign
if the
for me.
Retron 5 delivers the way they say it's going to do, it's going to save me so much room. It's going to be so much more convenient, and now I can dabble into imports. I'm so excited.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait because I'm going to. Okay, I know that my my rig downstairs is a little full right now, but I will make room for that because to be able to pick anything off of that shelf, cartridge based, put it in there, play it, have it upconverted to 1080p and render smooth, and have the sound beefed up. I just, that's perfect to me. I love my old consoles, but I can use the old controllers with that. So for me, it's the perfect experience because I want to use the old controllers. I want to play my old games. But if I can make them look better on my big screen, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for $100. Isn't it like $100?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh.
I wonder how much that is in the UK, because I know we can get them here in the UK. There's a few retro stores around here that actually does the pre-ordering stuff for you in terms of those. I don't know if Amazon.co.uk has it. I'll have to give it a look here. Because I've got every console, like nostalgic console known to man, and the Retron 5. And the great thing about it as well is for people who like to stream their content can actually stream because it has that HDMI connector. Mm-hmm. And apparently it upscales very well as well, but we don't know until they finally release it. So release it! Please.
Yeah. Please.
Zach, anything else?
No, but yeah, the Retron 5 looks awesome. I think it's the shit. But yeah, now that's the only news that I got.
He points to the toilet and says, that's the Retron 5. So, what about you, Nick?
If they had like a handhold, I can't think of I can't think of how to pronounce it. I'd do that. Retron 5, yeah, I'm looking at getting that as soon as it comes out at some point. Only because of the fact that there are import games I want to play as well, so I'd rather have that. I'd rather have the cards than an actual emulation.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too. And what's going to be really nice about that is I got some Game Boy Advance games and Game Boy games that I could play in that thing and make them look awesome. Man, this is going to be the machine to own if you're a big retro fanatic.
I just hope this thing's like made well. All those other clone systems are made like shit and they break after like a year. The controllers are shit and everything else sucks about them.
Yeah, I get
No, don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel.
But no, I mean that's one reason why it is being pushed back so many times, is because they said they want this to be the product that we want, and because it was supposed to be out months ago, but they pushed it back. And I don't mind waiting if it's going to be a good product. I don't want it to be the Neo Geo X.
Well, I know they remolded the outer casing so that you would be able to put the original Power Base converter on it for the Genesis slot.
Oh,
so you
really?
can play Master System games on it.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. Now, there is also a website that is selling, I can't remember what it is right now. I've got it saved in my phone of all places. They sell a mini Power Base converter. So it's basically the same shape and size as a Genesis cartridge, maybe a little taller, with a Master System slot sticking out the top, that you can just slide into any Sega Genesis and then put the Master System game on top and it'll play it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Would also be a nice little thing to have.
Travis is getting kind of excited.
Dude, I grew up with these games, man. Just hearing all this awesome news, I'm like, whew, major nerdgasm.
Just contain yourself, Travis. just contain yourself, Travis. It's fine. This is a children's show.
Yeah, right.
Since when's it been a children's show? If this is a children's show, then I guess mine's really, really, for toddlers.
Yeah. Specifically for toddlers.
Like Yo Gabba Gabba.
Yeah, like Yo Gabba Gabba. We're just as racist. Anyway, Nick, have you got any news for us that you found somewhere?
I have a piece of news. Actually, I kind of found this funny. It's kind of a little bit sports related and video game related. Pikachu and 10 other Pokemon are going to be the official mascots for Japan in the 2014 World Cup in Rio.
Interesting.
Anyone like soccer?
Yeah, this is actually on Kotaku, if I pronounced that right. They listed all of them, and I kind of find it funny because you could think of some more iconic characters in Pokemon, but it only goes to show how much staying power it really has had.
Hey, go catch them all.
I want to see Gundam, as the official.
Yeah, that's like Gundam. We'll just have that as our characters, Gundam. Or how about Overfiend? We'll just have that for Japan. That would work. Probably scare a few children. Anybody? No, I'm just like the whole soccer thing. Anyone into soccer?
No, I'm into football.
Football. Yeah, that's that's pretty much it on that one. Here's a nice little bit of news that everyone might like. Sony re-registers a trademark for Ember, which was supposed to be released on the PlayStation Eye. They lost the trademark basically after it was originally announced in 2007, and they've re-registered it now. So obviously there was no takers for that. So yay, Ember. Anyone like that? What about you, Rob? Any other news from our host today? Is there any news that you want to put forth for us?
Well, the number one piece of news that I had was, not surprisingly and yet surprisingly, on the launch day, which saw the launch of both Dark Souls 2 and Titanfall, surprisingly, Microsoft servers all crashed.
Wow.
Surprise.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people were on like different group pages, and everyone was very concerned, being like, "Are you guys having Xbox issues?" It was. Have you guys seen the special edition box to Titanfall?
Dude, that thing is gigantic.
I mean, could you imagine what went through the people's mind when they got that and they had to figure out how to put that in their car?
I basically looked at that and thought to myself, fuck, did they put a special edition helmet or something in? Is there a mech in that thing?
Lexington Steel could use that as a dick in a box.
I saw that box myself, and I thought there's no way that can be real. It must be Photoshop. But no, it is, because they have video game special editions with these damn statues are getting out of hand, and that's exactly what this is. It's an 18-inch tall by 16-inch square base model of one of the mechs that's made of over 300 pieces covered with LED lights and all battery operated.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Plus, there's a full coffee table art book sized art book. Like, the pages are 9 inches by 11 3/4 inches or something like that, and it's a 192-page hardcover bound art book. Plus, there's the full poster schematic blueprint for one of the Titans. Plus, there's there was a few other goodies. I think there's probably a soundtrack and a few other bits and pieces. But like, it's ridiculous. These statue special editions are getting stupid. I'm glad I haven't bought any of them, because I wouldn't have a man cave basement. I'd have you'd open the door and it would just be chock-a-block statues.
Or you'd have broken statues everywhere from once your kids get to them.
Yeah, well,
but even crazier than like the size of these things is the price. That special edition was $250.
I could get a brand new console for that. You could get.
You could get like 3 hookers for like an hour for that.
How would you know?
I mean, I'm lowballing it, but I'm guessing it's around there.
So that's where you're haggling price.
I'm talking C-Team. Yeah, I'm talking C-Team. Like,
okay.
Not the good stuff, not the top shelf.
So the ones with all their fillings.
Yeah. But
God.
yeah, they are getting crazy. It's like, this is like I remember when I got the post-pandemic edition of The Last of Us, and that was a fucking huge box. This thing is even bigger than that. I don't know. It's just it's just crazy.
I was just when I saw it though, I was picturing a scene in my head of someone getting it, and they just look at the Game Advisor at GameStop. They're like, "How am I supposed to fit this in my Prius?"
I hope your smart car has a roof rack there.
Yeah, really.
Well, either that or you just hop in the mech statue and walk it home. I mean, you know.
I'll just drive this home.
Like, this guy must have gotten Titanfall.
Like I swear to you, it's getting to that point. They're going to start, like, you get a free mech and heavy caliber machine gun with the game. What?
Yeah.
That's totally safe for midnight launch. The first guy to get one is going to kill everyone else and steal them and walk home. It's going to be great.
You get free semen from the developers. It's a mixed bag.
Ooh. Well, all right then. I guess it tastes all right.
Yeah. This is what they make cookies with. So we got the whole Titanfall thing, and I do have to agree with you. With me, I quite fancy just having the game and all the DLC. I'm happy with that. Any special edition cases like I got the Grand Theft Auto 5 special edition for the Xbox 360. That had extra maps, and it had like a few extra little details, including some extra content and stuff on it as well, which was fine. I saw the PlayStation 3 version, and the thing was in this huge, long box that looked like the size of a book. And I never knew what was in that stuff, and that was going for about $150.
Well, that was I think that was the bank deposit box.
Bloody.
So it was a safety deposit box, and then it had a gym bag inside of it, and the game, and a soundtrack, and a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I don't mind special editions. Like, I don't mind the art books, and I don't mind extra content like that. It's these bloody giant, great, massive, stupid statues that are just. It's getting out of hand. Like, everyone's trying to make a bigger and better statue. It started with Halo, I think, did the first one, didn't they? With the
helmet.
The Halo Reach.
Oh yeah. Well, remember in Halo 3 they had the helmet. They had the Master Chief helmet.
Well, even
and I've got that.
Had a statue.
But but Halo Reach had the big statue that had all of Noble Team on it.
Right. Yeah. It did,
and then there was Gears of War 3, 2, 3, 2.
No,
3. It was Gears of War 3, and they had the Marcus statue that had all the LEDs embedded in it. And then there was Skyrim that had the giant dragon statue. And now we've got this. We've got this bloody great 16-inch or 18-inch tall mech in a box that you have to freight home with a moving truck.
Yeah.
Right.
Go
ahead.
Just one other little thing I want to add to this as well. They've just released a bit of concept art here from Sonic Boom, the new Sonic game that's going to be coming out in concept with this new series that Sega's doing. And basically, Dr. Robotnik, or Dr. Eggman, whatever you like to call him on this, has had a new redesign. He looks kind of slimmer. He looks kind of spiffing because he has a nice jacket. And I don't know what to say about this. I was kind of two ways about Knuckles looking like a big meated up bodybuilder, but depends what people look like. You know,
I think he looks cool.
It's kind of steampunkish in a sense.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It looks cool. And honestly, I'm very stoked about Sonic Boom because the more I look at it, it looks like almost like this is going to be a unofficial Sonic the Hedgehog, like Sonic Adventures 3 almost. That's what it looks like.
That's a really weird redesign.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know if it's like a sort of a serious concept or it's very tongue-in-cheek in a sense, because I remember when they did Sonic 2006 and they gave him that weird redesign for that, which we shall not name, because that game had glitches and bestiality, so...
That game is equivalent to Voldemort. You just don't say its name.
It that shall not be named.
Yo, but I was just thinking, I'm going to make a picture. I'm going to Photoshop a picture. If you guys have ever played God of War, I think the first one when Zeus's father is walking the desert with that temple on his back where you get the Pandora's box. I will. I'll Photoshop a picture of like the Titanfall fucking collector's edition on his box and he's trudging through the desert.
Next it's going to be bigger and bigger. Soon they'll probably have like a special edition freaking like car that you'll probably get with the next game.
There was a Modern Warfare, I believe, had a special edition Modern Warfare Jeep that you could buy. The car company commissioned a set number of Modern Warfare Edition Jeeps. Now, it wasn't like you got it with the game or anything else, but you could get a Modern Warfare Jeep, and it was all deckled out with the skull logo and the MW3 stitched onto the spare tire cover and emblazoned on the sides, stitched into the headrests and put into the molding of the actual dashboard, and it was all fancied up, and it was all black, high gloss black with matte black finish and trim. It was actually a very sleek looking vehicle, but I couldn't believe, and it was owned by one of the guys on a site I worked on when I was at Coast Mountain, and it was just unbelievable. I couldn't. I talked to one of the other staff members. He said, "Yeah, this guy, he plays all of them. He buys them all on launch day, deluxe editions, and he paid like $10,000 more than the vehicle's worth just to get that edition."
Wow.
I'd rather herpes.
Well, do you remember the worst thing that they actually did was that uber expensive Saints Row 4?
Oh, yeah. We could, like, have a flight in a jet or something?
Yeah, the £1 million edition of the game.
Yeah.
Basically, you paid $1 million for it, and you'd get, like, a flight in a jet. You would get, like, the American presidential experience, a facelift, if you wanted one, and, like an around-the-world trip and stuff like that. And I just sat
Lamborghini and entry into the Lamborghini Owners Club.
Yeah, it's one of those things that knowing how the game plays, for such a limited experience, would you really pay $1 million for it?
Well, that was kind of the joke behind it. They knew no one would actually buy it.
Get profit.
Because for $1 million, you could buy all the things they were offering.
Oh, yeah. Well, my question is, can you save the facelifts until you're like, 70 years old? Or do you have to redeem it now?
Are you going to save it as a present for Kyla? Or are you just going to
no, just in general, like,
facelift?
Yeah, like I don't need it. Kyla doesn't need it, but maybe 50 years from now she'll need it.
Yeah, here, sweetie, there's can you look like the AES for me?
Just make your face the AES, please. Thank you.
Yeah. And your mouth the ports. Just goes.
Yeah.
Just weird gags. If you want to know what we're talking about, check out his YouTube channel because it's hilarious. He's got a love-hate relationship with the Neo Geo AES. Which
I just have a love relationship with it.
Yeah, he calls it my precious.
Oh dear.
Oh man, that's scary.
He's been caught with his pants down. You should watch it. It's on an episode of Getting Your Nerd On. I'll tell you a bit more about it when the show ends. But yeah, so we're going on from the news there. Mr. Rob, Mr. Connoisseur, our host of hosts for tonight.
All right, so has everyone covered the news? Everyone's done? Everyone's good?
I had a couple of things, but we can carry on. It's okay.
What do you got?
All right, well... No, do you still have some news to give?
Well, it was really nothing major, so I'll just give real quick. Like, Titanfall pushes Guinness World Record holder to 1 million gamer score.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Raymond Cox, or Stallion83, as he's known on Xbox Live, has reached a level of a gamer previously thought unobtainable, and he hit the 1 million mark at approximately 2:35 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, March 13th, after completing a game of Titanfall. His score has been verified with Guinness to be recorded as the official highest gamer score, but considering his broadcast was, considering Cox broadcast his achievements to the world on Twitch, it's unlikely that there's any sort of shadiness going on here. So, congrats to Raymond Cox. That is awesome.
Yeah, if that guy was listening right now, he's probably really mad at you, Travis.
He's a really happy
you're
Cox.
Like, because Travis is like, oh, it's nothing major, and Cox is like,
oh, it's
son
nothing.
of a bitch.
Wait,
well, the thing is, I don't have an Xbox One, nor I have any intention of playing Titanfall, but that's just me.
Is this guy's last name Cox?
Yes.
DOX.
Oh, okay.
He's a very seething Cox at the moment. He's going to explode.
Yeah.
Hey-o. And the only other thing is, Sega reveals a new Crazy Taxi game coming out as a free-to-play for mobile devices.
Oh.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, free-to-play, and there will be microtransactions.
Oh, good.
Of course.
Why is everyone hating on this? I like the third one.
No, but
no, I love Crazy Taxi. I freaking love Crazy Taxi. But
did you play the third one?
This is ridiculous. I mean, it's a free-to-play game, but to make the experience that much more enjoyable, you got to pay to make it better and better. I'm sorry.
Well, what are some of the things you can pay for?
Well, it's an early story. I'm quoting off the story found in Screw Attack. Let's see. The creator Kinji Kano is on board for the project and is working with Hardlight Studios to deliver the game on iOS and Android devices later this year. He says he's excited to deliver a, quote, fun game that captures everything our fans love about the original,
including microtransactions.
While the things they loved about the original, the microtransactions.
Yeah, that's what makes the game work, you know.
While also infusing with several new features to create an even more fantastic and memorable experience. Microtransactions.
Yeah, it's just, for me, as soon as you mention the word microtransactions in the game, it pisses me off.
Yeah, microtransactions are bullshit, but I want to know, like, what an example of one of them that they're using. Like, is it going to be like pay money so your car jumps higher?
Well, here's a few of them. Some of the new features include cab customization and social integration with Facebook. By linking the game to your Facebook accounts, you'll bring your friends into the game as fares and engage in additional side missions.
I like that idea, and I think that idea should be brought over to console platforms instead of crappy phone platforms, which they'll never work properly on. To me, in a sense, and I would love to basically say, like, have my Xbox Live party friends that I could take them as fares, or you could do it on something like the Wii U as well. You could do it something on the PlayStation. Why mobile freaking phones? I hate playing games on my phones unless they're touchscreen sort of games. Like, for instance, the one game I've actually kept was Jetpack Joyride. Because all you have to do is just lift the character up and bring him down, lift him up.
I love that game. That game's awesome.
It's awesome. Harry State Fries, Half Brick, one of the best game developers ever. They utilize phones for what they're made for, and that's touchscreen. That's it. The moment you try to put a pad on something, it just makes it look really crappy.
Well, did you guys know that the other microtransaction is the whole Offspring soundtrack?
You know, I was going to mention
I'm just kidding. I'm totally making it up.
I was going to say, are you able to pay money for the original soundtrack? Oh, fuck you, Xander. Damn.
Put his hopes up all over nothing, Xander. What are you doing?
Because I was thinking the same thing.
But I feel kind of betrayed that they're not putting this out on consoles, only on
Burhan,
mobile devices. Please hit it.
Oh God! You see, I don't even have to be. I just have to be
Betrayal! Betrayal! Betrayed me!
Now I feel better. Thank you.
There you go.
The IGG drinking game. How many times can we hear betrayed?
So,
Yeah,
Travis, what did you feel betrayed about?
Because for one thing, I don't have a mobile phone that would, like a smartphone to play it on, and second of all, it's like Burhan said, some of these games just don't belong on a mobile device. They belong on a console, even a handheld like the 3DS or the PS Vita.
My worst experience with Streets of Rage, for instance, was on a mobile phone. Was on actually the iPhone, because I've got an iPhone 4, which I use it for texting and other stuff, and I also use it for playing games every now and then. It used to be my whole toilet gaming device before I got my 3DS, and it's just terrible. There's only a few games that I like on it, like indie game developer, Knights of Pen and Paper, and mostly half-brick games like Fruit Ninja and stuff like that, because they're done properly. I tried playing Streets of Rage on this fucking thing, and it was terrible. I felt like it was something that I should never have paid for. I wanted my money back on it, and that Sega should have been bloody ashamed of themselves. It's...
Well, I feel like if they make this new Crazy Taxi, say, I don't know what the name of it is, 4 or whatever it is?
It's called Crazy Taxi City Rush.
Okay. I feel like if they make this for an iOS device, it'll eventually make its way to something like the 3DS or even a DLC on a system. I feel like why would you just keep it only? Why would you develop an entire game and put it on one specific platform that alienates everybody else from it?
Ask Square. They've been doing it for years. How many Final Fantasy tie-in games went to mobile phones only in Japan? A friggin' ton of them.
Yeah.
Oh, did they? Yeah. I don't even know.
Yeah, even the Final Fantasy VII one, yeah.
Yeah, there was the Final Fantasy VII, it wasn't Advent Children.
No, that was the movie.
What was there was one that they did that had, it was basically about the group that was led by...
The Turks,
yeah.
yeah.
The one about the Turks. It was like
the other movie? The cartoon.
Well, it came out around the same time as Advent Children, because that was one of the special features was a trailer for that game, and it was pretty much a game where you played as the Turks.
But it was a mobile phone game only in Japan.
Yep.
Really? Okay, I never heard of that.
They've done a bunch of these like Square sequel games. There's been a ton of RPG sequels. Hell, there was a Mega Man Legends game that was only on cell phones in Japan. Like,
think about
angers me. Well,
let's not get Square confused with Square Enix, okay? They're two different things.
Yeah.
Yes, now they're twice as evil.
Square in the 90s would be embarrassed by fucking Square Enix now.
Oh, I absolutely agree. Square Enix, has completely lost the bloody plot.
Yeah.
They're lost. The only thing that they've done lately that was good was Bravely Default.
Oh, we want Final Fantasy VII. What? You want another Final Fantasy game starring lightning? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, this is what you wanted? Here it is.
Yeah.
No one asked for this.
Yeah,
you wanted it.
Yeah, we gave you a Cloud costume. There you go.
Yeah. Oh God.
Dude, I wanted that GameStop standee. I wanted to steal that. I love Lightning. Even though the games aren't that great, I think Lightning is awesome, and I wanted to steal that standee from GameStop.
It's because they increased the boob size. That's the reason being, isn't it?
Boob size increase plus in Cloud's get up with Buster Sword equals ejaculation.
Jesus Christ. Okay, wipe off your monitor, buddy. Come on. If I ever met the president of Square, I'd only have one thing to say to him.
Hi, monster. You don't belong in this world.
That should go on the soundboard.
I agree.
I would hit him with the betrayal.
Burhan?
Betrayal! Betrayal! Betrayed me!
If we keep playing this, we're going to end up having to pay Spoonie at some point.
Yeah, we are.
Well, not for something that happened, 4 years ago, so.
It's become like a big meme and stuff. But yeah, I think, apart from the Square bash, I think we're done with the news.
Yes, I think the news is done, and so, folks, we move on to the main event. Tonight we have a topic that's going to be, I think it's going to be very interesting. I think a lot of us are going to be a bit one-sided on this because a lot of us are very same thinking. However, it does open the discussion to what we think of the current state of it. What we're talking about, of course, is actual game collecting. Now, there are many schools of thought on this, and to be honest, I personally get emails and Facebook messages regularly from people who ask me, I'm thinking of getting into game collecting. What should I collect first? Now, this gives me a chance to publicly give the answer to everyone listening. And I say the same thing every time. See, I never thought of myself as a game collector until the YouTube community started taking off. What I thought of myself as was a gamer who didn't trade things in. Ever. I mean, I bought games I liked, I enjoyed them, they went on my shelf. And if I happened to be at a Value Village or something like that, and I saw an old game that I remembered that I was fond of, I would buy it, and it would come home with me, and I'd play them once in a while. But this whole idea of I'm thinking of starting video game collecting, well, if it's something you need to think about, it's not something that you're doing, and you're not doing it for the right reasons, in my opinion. In my opinion, video game collecting is actually buying games you enjoy, playing and keeping them. And that's it. The reason I have the collection I have that people have drooled over and freaked out over is because I've been doing this for 28 years. So, yeah, over that time, I've acquired one or two. All in all, to me, video game collecting shouldn't be about the dollar value of your collection or the rarity of the pieces in it. It should be something that is nostalgic and special to you, something that is basically like your gaming history. That collection should be, every one of them should be something you can point at and say, I've enjoyed that or I love that being there because it means this to me. Not, I bought that because I know on eBay it's tripled the value in the last 2 years. Because that just means you want prestige and status, not that you enjoy the games. But that's me. You know what? Xander, what do you think about this?
I'm the same way, and I also wanted to go ahead and plug our number for the people that are listening that want to call in and say their little 2 cents on gaming collecting, and that number is 718-664-9265. You can call us, or you can just hit that Skype button, and it's a free call. But anyway, yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I cannot explain how much I get upset when I'm talking to someone about games. And I'll mention a game, and the first thing they ask me is it an uncommon title? Or how common is that game? It's like, who cares? Like, I've been collecting for a long time, too, and it's a lot of the same reason why, same with you, Rob, it's like I never got rid of anything, and I never, had the motivation to fill up a shelf just to fill up a shelf of games. That was never my intention.
Yeah, I agree. It's like the dirtiest word I've ever heard is trading.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is really filthy. Someone said, I remember I had a friend of mine, I was like going to him, he's always playing a new game every single month. Hi, Damien. And he would play a new game, and he would go to me, I was like, so what do you do with the old stuff? You must love these games. He goes, no, man. He goes, I'll just trade them all in. And, I trade about 6 of my games in and get the newest game in for free. And I'm just like looking at him thinking, you poor man. I think it's like suffering from an illness or some form of retardation in a sense.
I'll say this. I'd rather, if someone likes to trade in their games, that's their prerogative. That's what they want to do. That's cool. But I'd rather honestly have someone that plays a game and trades it in than someone that just buys a game just to put on the shelf just because they have some idea that they're going to retire in the next couple of years having a copy of Earthbound. Because that makes people like us that actually want to play these games, that makes those games go up in price, and we never really get to experience them unless we do emulation.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Resellers and sort of what I would call status collectors like that, it bothers me because for that exact reason, it drives the prices up, it drives the rarity up, and it's people who want bragging rights and who don't have the same appreciation for the game, for the game's own enjoyability.
Yeah, it was a fun thing actually. Me and Xander were talking about this quite recently, where we had one of the gamers in one of the forums that me and Xander frequent at. I'm not going to name the forum because the guys will probably get very annoyed about this. But he basically said that he purchased the game and it had a sort of status thing on it. What was it, Xander? Because we don't see this thing over here, but apparently it gives...
He got it graded. He had a copy of Dragon Quest VIII, and it had a A+ grading on it.
Yeah. In that plastic like Mylar box or whatever.
Yeah.
What?
What?
They do it for comic books.
I just thought that was like, what? When were games graded? It was like, this is to show its authenticity. I had a little certificate, and I was crying with laughter because Adam was saying to me, like, yeah, this is sort of a body that just sets up and they give you this certificate saying your game is this rated and stuff to show you.
No, this is a big thing. This is and yet another aspect of modern collecting. Actually, this is a real thing because people have been able to do this with baseball cards, comic books, jewelry, and other things over the years. Rare antiques or jewelry pieces of note and repute, but and with certain older games, case in point, if it was a prototype or like stadium events, things like that, I understand when it is an incredibly rare piece doing that. But when you're seeing friggin' Legend of Zelda for the NES mint in box, and it's already like $200-300 on eBay, and then some douchebag goes out there and gets it graded, comes back with an A+, and then they want like $2,000 for it. You know, I'm really sorry, but you know what you can do with that $2,000? You can shove it right up your ass because you're an idiot. It's Legend of Zelda. It's not, you know, it's not the statue of David. It's not an original Da Vinci. It's a fucking 8-bit Nintendo cartridge that happens to have all of its bits and pieces. So, you know, excuse me. Thank you for driving up the prices and being a moron.
It's exactly that. And when we were sitting there having a conversation about this, Xander was just like, I asked him about it because I was like, I never knew games were graded like this because I knew about comic books and stuff like that. And to tell you the truth, in terms of comic book collecting, I collect comics that I read. That's it. I would never go as like, I want a special edition this, I want a special edition that. I'm going to wait for it to mature. It's like, if I like it, I'll buy it. That's the be-all end-all for me.
Comic books I can understand, you know, because, I mean, it's aged paper and, you know, it's something that's tangible that can, you know, disintegrate or, you know, it's timeless. But, you know, like Dragon Quest VIII, come on.
Yeah, dude, it's a PS2 game. It's not even that old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just makes me laugh how so many unofficial bodies have come in now, and it's taken over the market to an extent where it's become commonplace. Where I watched loads of collector videos as well. I'd watched a lot of Zach's videos and a few others in terms of what they purchase and how much they pay for certain games, and it's ridiculous the prices. And someone's like, "Oh, I paid $200 for this," and they've got like a crate full of like old NES games, old Super Nintendo games. Oh, you know, I got this mint in box. I got this game. I've got a copy of Super Mario All-Stars with Super Mario World. That's mint. So that's great. I can resell that for like a fucking ton of shit. And it's just, it makes me like feel like I want to vomit because it takes something that you see as nostalgia and it turns it into a money-making scheme where I think that's where things are gonna, you know, it turns things into a bit of a downer in a sense because there's this whole grey area as to if this is actually something that should be done. You know, should games be classified as A+ ratings and have that whole in-game, in-box bullshit? Or should someone just say, hey, it's a game, I'm just going to stick it in my console and play it?
But if you watch people like Lawn Boy Post in 1975, and you bring up a point about, you know, people grading these, he actually asked the question, do gamers drive up the price of games? In a sense, we do, because through YouTube, and like you talked about, you see people talking about this stuff, like Pat the NES Punk shows that he has the Nintendo World Championship card. What's going to happen is you're going to have people seeing these, and they're going to go, oh, well, they pay this much. Well, how much more are they going to be paying? It's the same thing for anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's without a doubt that a lot of it's our own doing when it comes to that from, you know, YouTube. And the first thing I can think of is that one episode, I think it was Storage Wars, where the guy found a NES.
Oh, yeah.
And he tried to make it.
That.
Yeah, he tried to make it out saying that it was like worth $3,000, and it was some, it was the first Nintendo ever made or some shit. And yeah, uneducated people see that, and they go in their attic and they dig out all these games, and they're like, well, shit, that's worth $3,000. Yeah, I didn't finish the episode where he found out that it was worth nothing because it didn't even work. I didn't finish that episode because I was too busy up in my attic grabbing all the games I had put up there, and now I want to turn back and sell them because we're in a recession right now. You know what I'm saying? So,
it's heartbreaking. In the end, for me, being someone who's, I'm again, same school of thought here. Every console I've ever owned, apart from my Nintendo Entertainment System, which I've told the story before about the fact my NES went missing because some careless person basically didn't give it back to me. I purchased a new one, and the price I paid for my console was basically a reconditioned console that could crap out at any time. I love the console to bits, don't get me wrong. Could crap out at any time. I paid £50 for this console, which, if you calculate that in dollars, that's $75. If you go into Canadian money, that's even worse. You're looking at about $95 to $100.
That's a punch in the dick right there.
Do you know what I mean? But I wanted this console back, so I paid the price for it. And I was sitting there and once I thought about it, I was like, what have I done? Why am I paying this much for this? It's good that I'm kind of handy with these things, so anything goes wrong, I can actually recondition it myself. But for anybody else, you've got guys on eBay who basically will fix the consoles for you. You're paying a leg to these guys to get it done. There's no warranty. There's nothing that you would get for a new system, and they want the same price as those systems. I've seen old consoles like the Vectrex, for instance, go for £100. That's like $160. Are you kidding me? A Vectrex! The thing is likely to give someone cancer.
Please don't look up the Turbo Duo.
I think
you might have a stroke. You might have a stroke. I'm not kidding.
Probably will.
I mean, I got mine very luckily at a pawn shop in Victoria, and I walked in and they had one sitting on the shelf, and I kind of, let's see how many kidneys I'd have to sell for that. And I was like, how much do you want for that? And the guy said $125. And I put the money on the counter faster than he could finish blinking. And I was like, give. And it's complete. It's got all the cables. It's everything. It's not box complete, but it is the machine with all the cables. And it came with the Bonk's Adventure and Gates of Thunder CD. And I mean, that was a very good price because I've looked at them on eBay before, and it's ridiculous what you have to pay for those.
Yeah, for anything as well. Like, I was looking at, because I was thinking about, because me and Michael basically, Yanacito were basically talking about purchasing a PC engine. He wanted to get one, a TurboGrafx PC engine, for instance, and I was looking it up, and I was thinking, how much can I pay in the UK? You're looking for like £200 for that system over here, and that's just the game system itself, no games. No extra controllers, nothing. It's ridiculous. It's turning into a huge seller's market here because there's no set prices, there's no legislation on this, people can charge whatever the fuck they want.
And as long as people pay for it, it's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the thing. And as both basically Nick and Travis have alluded to here, it's gotten to the point now, because YouTube has made this really famous in a sense, people have gone in there, like, here's another one, Flappy Birds. People are selling their freaking phones with Flappy Birds on it because all of a sudden this game gets decommissioned. It comes off market. People sell it for up to $200 for the fucking phone with the game preloaded.
I heard the highest one, I think, was like $1,000.
Yeah,
somebody got
for a freaking game where you're playing a one-eyed crappy bird trying to go through warp pipes. It's
right.
But the thing is about that game is going to be re-released, so I think the value of that's going to diminish quickly.
Well, that brings up a good subject, and they could bring something we could segue into, and that's our thoughts on reproduction carts and clone systems.
Now, That's a very, very good point. I personally was heartbroken to find out that Time Walk Games has shut down.
Me too.
Because as it goes, they ran a quality outfit. They made really good quality, and they were expensive, but I appreciate where that cost went, and had I the money and the wherewithal, I would have bought a lot of things from them over time, because they were doing it right. Now, when you talk about places that just have a cart with the label that they put the ROM in, personally, I'm not a cart only guy, but I definitely liked Time Walk's take to it, and so I think reproduction carts are, for games that never came here, to be translated and released that way. I think it's a great idea. Same with clone consoles, just for people who want an affordable way to get into retro gaming. I think they're okay, personally.
Just to let you guys know, we've got a caller on the line by the name of Nick Horacek. Nick, you're on I Got Gameplay, my friend.
How you guys doing?
Good. How you doing, Nick?
I'm good. Yeah, I heard Rob Man was on, so I had to... Huh?
You've got a question here for Rob?
Sorry. Yeah, I was going to ask, what is the limit on price limit on buying a retro game? For you? For
me?
Yeah.
I think the most I've ever spent was... I think it was about, was it, I'm checking with my accountant, also known as my wife. When I bought Dracula X, that was like $100, wasn't it? Oh! Was it much more than that? Yeah. I think I got my copy of Dracula X complete for $125. And that was a stretch for me. That was quite a stretch for me. And now that's on the Super NES, not the Turbo Duo one, but still, that was about the upward edge of where I'll go. I really, and when people ask me this, my number one thing is, what's it worth to you? Like, in a genuine worth to you. Are you comfortable parting with amount of dollars to have that game in your hands? But yeah, for me personally, I think about 100 is as far as I'd go.
Oh, man.
Yeah, when you look at some of the, especially Super Nintendo games, Earthbound, classic example, that game goes for over 100 at least, just for the cartridge.
Oh. Yeah, and that breaks my heart, because to be honest, I would love to own a copy of that game, because I would take it out of the box, I would play it, I would read the book, I would appreciate the artwork in it, but I am not about to spend $385 to $400 to do so.
And that's a price nearly for an Xbox One or a PS4.
Yeah, and I will not do that just to get a complete... I won't buy card only anymore. I've made that decision for myself. I prefer to have it complete because I want the manual, I like the artwork, I want the box, so I'm not going to do card only, and I wouldn't pay $100 just for a card. So yeah, that's a prime example. That's a very good example, actually, of a game I will never own. Unless somebody feels like getting colossally smashed and handing it over to me, I will never own it because I'm not paying that much for it.
I'm drunk. Take my underwear and my copy of Earthbound.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, that's why I bought it on the Wii U. I bought the Wii U Virtual Console version, so...
Same here.
I think, the most I ever spent on a retro game was Super Castlevania 4. I spent about $48 for that complete, so...
That's not too bad.
Yeah, that's kind of a fair margin, dependent on what they're actually selling those games for nowadays. It's like, if you consider a game sort of like retro, most eBay sellers would probably, I think the worst one I saw was a copy of Yoshi's Island for the SNES. That was going for about nearly $80 to $90 sold for that. And I've got the original. I purchased it on release day, believe it or not, when I was younger, and I still have that. But to see the amount it's going for now is ridiculous, because I originally paid £4 for that, which works out around about $63. And that was brand new.
I think the most I ever paid for a game was quite recently. I spent $100 for a complete Mega Man Legends 2.
Okay,
go
ahead.
Yeah, no, I was saying, I think Xander told me about that, because he was like panicking afterwards. He's like, I fucking just paid that much.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
but I wanted it, and it was just like, it was funny because the store I went to is a local retro store here, Game Giant, and they had a copy, two complete copies of Mega Man Legends and Mega Man Legends 2, and I had just got my tax return, and I was like, you know what? It's rare that I see both these in the same spot at the same time. I'm just going to bite the bullet and buy both of them. I got Mega Man Legends for I believe 50, and Mega Man Legends 2 for about 100. So.
Wow.
So Nick, one more.
And those are
question
both
you wanna ask?
PS1, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I
You got yeah, sorry, Nick,
I
you got
think
another question
that does
for
it for me. That was the one I wanted to ask about.
Awesome.
Yep.
Anything else you want to say to Rob before you go?
I was actually going to talk to you, Rob. I had Johnny on the podcast I do, The Users. That was back over a year ago. So, yeah, would actually love to get you on at some point.
Hold on, we'll contact me on Facebook. I hope you're on my Facebook. Hit me up with a private message, and we'll sort something out, man.
I am. Yeah,
Right on.
definitely.
Well, yeah, definitely. Send me a private message, and we'll sort something out. Yeah.
Thanks, Nick. Have a great time, and keep listening.
All right, you guys.
Also, don't cut my off there. Sorry, Nick. Have a great time, mate. And yeah, let's continue the debate.
Right. Well, I've got eBay up right now. The cheapest price for a complete Earthbound is 471 Canadian dollars.
Oh my god.
That's ridiculous.
That's the cheapest, and then the next cheapest after that is 631, 704, 748, 953.
Oh, Jesus.
That's for a complete Earthbound for the Super NES.
No game is worth that much. I'm sorry.
Nope.
Hey, Rob, can you do me a favor since you got it up?
Yep.
Look up Dracula X for me, will you, please?
Oh god, Travis is gonna have a heart attack. I can just tell.
Well, are you upset about my story about what I paid for it?
No, I'm jealous because that's the game I've been looking for God, ever since the game came out.
Here you go, look, Yoshi's Island, right? Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, big box, it's a limited edition version, rare apparently, $249.99.
What's that version didn't come out in North America.
Yeah.
The one with the big ass strategy guide like Earthbound. Only the regular sized box with a manual came out over here.
You know what's cool though is what's really interesting is I'm sorry I didn't mean to cut you off there. No, I was gonna say about my fiance, God bless her, she's awesome. She actually got me a copy of Yoshi's Island for $15.
Nice.
Of course, just the game itself, but I just didn't care. As long as I had the cartridge, I mean, this is a game I've loved ever since I was a teenager. Just to have a copy of it and to play it again, I was like, it's just a great feeling.
Okay, here it is, folks. Dracula X, Super Nintendo, North American release, complete. Cheapest is $321.47.
Wow.
All of these are buy it now, by the way. The next cheapest is $359.76 Canadian dollars. 443 and 543.
Wow.
And then there is another one, more items related to $254.99 is actually the cheapest I see here, and that is complete.
Right.
Well, mine had a bit of damage on the box, I think a little tiny bit.
Yo. Okay.
Well, I was gonna say one thing too, and it's funny when it comes to collecting that sometimes it's cheaper to just buy the Japanese cart than it is the American, because I know, Travis, you really want Dracula X, and I do too. That's actually the only Castlevania game that I don't have U.S. release is Dracula X.
You know how much? Apparently over here in the UK, £129.99 to US dollars. In conversion, I'd say that would be about $150.
Oh,
yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But what I was going to say though is the Japanese cart for Dracula X. You can buy it now on Amazon. Say what?
The Japanese version is called A Vampire's Kiss.
Yeah, well, you can buy that on Amazon right now for less than $60.
It's actually quite funny though. They've got like in the same line Bram Stoker's Dracula going for like £5.
Good game though.
That game. I've never heard a good thing about that. I want to instill some fucking hope in this channel, this conversation today. I want to say this. Before I got into high school, I heard about Earthbound and I bought it for I remember I went to half.com and every copy there was $20. And I bought a copy of Earthbound, and I loved it so much that I told my buddy about it, and I let my buddy borrow it, and then I went into the military, and then like a couple years into the military, I was like, yo, man, can you send me that Earthbound card back? I really want to play it again. And he was like, I don't know what happened to that Earthbound card. I was in college, and someone might have grabbed it and took it, so it's gone. And at that point, it was going for like $150, and I was like, fuck, it's like. That game was worth nothing back when I was into it, and now, the copy's gone and whatever. But luckily, I had found a copy on Craigslist in San Diego for $5. So there is hope. I mean, I got it back, so I own it again. But I mean, do not lend these things out. But the thing of it is that when I lent a lot of my stuff out that I lost, it wasn't worth anything. I mean, it's $20, but it's like there's RPGs are worth way more than $20. So it's like, I lent out, Earthbound, but, luckily I was able to get it back. But I don't lend out anything anymore. It's just, it's just a big fucking hassle. So it's like, if someone wants to borrow something from you, because, I also lent out Skies of Arcadia, and then that guy moved to buttfuck Egypt and took it with him. So if someone wants to borrow something from you, just, tell them to go buy it themselves. And, not to be rude, but too many things have grown legs and walked away from me.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that one. With my NES story, it was like literally the same thing. Loaned it to a friend. She was like, I'm feeling poorly. Can I play with it? Because I heard you have one. Yeah, sure. Gave her that with a Super Mario Duck Hunt, which I've got, I had about 3 of those carts anyway. Played it. A year later, I was like, hey, dude, can I have my console back? Number's not working. It's like, okay, cool. Went to her house. Yeah, excuse me. Does so-and-so live here? No, they sold the house ages ago. They've moved. Fuck!
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, and it was my original NES that I got. It was back in 91, I believe. I got it when I was a little kid. Yeah. My dad brought it home. It was kind of one of his little gifts to us because my mum. He got in trouble with my mum, so he decided to sweeten me with an NES. I didn't care. Gift's a gift, man. But I got that, and I remember playing it so much. Me and my dad had so many fun memories. I still own the original Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. cart for that when they released it for the NES. And even I own the ColecoVision cart for that as well. And I popped it in the new one I've got, and the new one that I purchased, it's a reconditioned system. It doesn't feel the same in a sense because that whole bit of nostalgia, everything that mattered to me in the history of that old NES. It's not the same with the new system. It's I know where I bought it from. It's a reconditioned system. It's not my system. And it's a shame. It's probably the same thing with you in that cart, man. It's so many memories on that cart, and then that douche nozzle basically allowed it to slip his hands.
But I was also going to say that it also falls into what Zach was saying about the fact he got it back cheap, and that is, I think one of my biggest advice for gaming collectors is the gift of patience.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of, new collectors get discouraged from watching pickup videos. They watch people that go out to flea markets and they find a big bucket of games for $20, and then they go to the thrift store and they don't have the same luck and they get discouraged. But the thing is and what's fun about collecting is the chase. It's almost like a lottery adrenaline rush. You don't know what you're going to get yourself into, and just being patient. If there's a game you really want, be patient about it. Take your time. Don't just throw your money out at it.
Right, I just want to say one thing at the moment. I've just looked on eBay, and this piece of shit on eBay is basically selling Castlevania Dracula X for $98.99. Guess what part of the game he's selling?
The manual.
The book. Yeah. The book.
$98.99 for the fucking manual. Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, you see, some people will actually buy the cartridge, the manual, and the box separately and find a way to get it cheaper that way.
Mm.
For $100 for a manual?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Well, how much are you paying for it complete? $400. You buy the game for $150. You buy the manual for $100. You buy the box for another $80. That's cheaper than paying $450 for a complete.
Oh, that's
It's highway robbery, but it's cheaper than paying $450 for complete.
That makes my heart sink. I'm just looking at that thinking, my God.
You know, just getting back to lending things out, I do have a quick story about that, actually. In the early days before Johnny and I were hanging out like we do now, back when I was in high school and he was a friend of my brother's, I lent out about 6 of my NES games to a fellow that we both knew named Taka. And I went back about 2 weeks later and I asked him for them. Oh, yeah, no, I'll get them free later. No, I'll get them free later. No, I'll get them free later. And it turned out he had lent them to some of his friends, who lent them to some of his friends, who lent them to some of his friends, but all different people. And for all intents and purposes, they were gone. I was out those games. And I happened to talk to John about it. And he went out on his own, didn't let me know what was happening. He hunted every single one of them down and brought them back to my house.
That is fucking awesome.
That's
He knew all the same guys in those circles, all those different guys, and they were rough characters. Because I mean, I eventually ended up going to Taka's house, and then he came up to me in school the next day, and he's like, "You went to my house and bugged my mom about your games. You do that again, I'll kill you."
Jesus Christ!
And I was like, "Oh my God!" And he meant it. I was like, "Jeez, yeah, but you have my games."
Yeah, I loaned you something out of good faith.
Right.
But Johnny got them all back for me, and I have never lent out a game since, except to Johnny.
I agree. You have to be very specific on who you lend things out to. I'm going to say one thing really quick. When I was in the military, I was in the Marine Corps, and this guy, I remember Killswitch Engage was, they're from my hometown, and they were such an amazing band that I bought this live DVD of them. And this guy who I lived next to was like, "Hey man, can I borrow that? I want to watch it tonight." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And so the next day, or a couple days later, I go to his room and I knock on the door and it's completely cleaned out. And I was like, "Where the hell is this guy?" And they were like, "Oh, he got out 2 days ago." So he literally borrowed the movie from me, knew he was getting out of the military, took the shit and just bounced. Didn't even have any courtesy to even give it back to me.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah, just a complete dick, you
Fucked
know?
up.
Yeah, it's just, you're getting out. Don't be an asshole. Return it. But yeah, people are like that. That's why I don't lend out anything ever.
Yep.
Nothing.
Me neither, man.
Nope.
I only do it for people I trust. Otherwise, hell no.
Yeah, that's just that was a dick move.
Yeah.
See, I tend to be more the guy that's like, "Come over to my house and play it."
That's the
Okay,
best way.
come over to my house. Sit in my basement, play it. I don't mind sitting there with you while you play it. I'll eat some chips, drink some whatever, hang out. But it doesn't leave my house. But you can play it.
That's the way it should be, In the end, the same thing goes for me. If I really know someone, personally know you, that you're a friend of mine, and we've exchanged fucking hugs and numbers and semen and stuff like that. There's a level that I would go in terms of what I'm lending out to people, because I think that I wasn't even second guessing myself. I've got a friend of mine who, I know where he lives. I know exactly where he is. He's in constant contact with me. I lent him my Dishonored Special Edition copy. I managed to get that back from him after he finished playing with it, and he was cool, and that's the first person I've ever loaned to since the NES situation, which anybody who's come up to me and said, "Hey, can I put no? Can I? No. Can I? Oh, they've got some some pre-owned ones, basically at Game. Go and buy it from there. You're not borrowing this. It's mine. There's no way it's leaving, and there's no way it's leaving me, because people are just really. There's so many people who can be really, really sly with other people's personal property. It's ridiculous. Completely ridiculous.
Well, what's funny? It's nobody ever wants to borrow Madden 2000. They're like, they come over to your house and they're like, I wanted to play Skies of Arcadia. They're never gonna say, I want to borrow RBI baseball for NES. No, they want to borrow, some expensive ass, fucking thing. And that's why it pisses me off, because it's do you know how long it took me to find this? in the condition that it's in to be in my collection, in the price I was willing to pay for it, and you're just going to come in, you don't know any of that. You don't care about condition. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would be fine handing me back this with, like, a manual that you wiped your ass with and a disc that you ran, like, a 10K marathon with, like strapped to the bottom of your shoe. And that's the thing. It's like, I have taken a lot of time to have my collection the way I want it to be, in the condition I want it to be, and as complete as I want it to be. And I'm not ready to just lend it out to people who don't give a shit. And so I've learned. I've lost, and you'll always hear the games that I've lost. You're not going to hear like, a spare copy of like Madden 97 that I didn't give two shits about. It's going to be Earthbound and Skies of Arcadia. And it's going to be those kind of games that I'm just like, shit, now I can't get these back unless I pay top dollar. But, back then I paid $10 for them. And at that point, they weren't worth any money. But now it's like, yeah, good luck finding one. And I was lucky, thank God, that I found that copy of Earthbound on Craigslist, because if I didn't find it there, I still wouldn't have it back.
Yeah. It's a shame.
There's a really big question, though. I mean, in terms of collecting, for everybody, how you guys are always talking about. Everybody talks about the price of the game that they're buying, but in this sense, is a game really worth, $400 or $500? Like you're saying, you only paid $10 for a game back in the day, but now with the days of emulations and reproduction cards, are those games really worth as much as people are claiming they are? You can go into eBay and say a game is worth so much, and somebody else will sell it for a higher amount. It doesn't make it the same.
A game is only worth as much as people are willing to spend to get it. Yeah. The problem is there are a lot of people, let's face it, the generation that grew up with these things are now the generation that are, my generation, that for the most part have the largest amount of disposable income, and they are willing to throw that at nostalgia, because ours was really the last generation that a lot of these things were thrown out and made them rare.
I was reading I was reading an article about exactly that, about why Super Nintendo, NES, before stuff is on the rise. It's because people who were of that generation maybe sold them, lost them, whatever happened, and
their
now
parents
that
threw them out.
Yeah, sure, their parents threw them out, but now you're right that they have this disposable income where it's like, say Chrono Trigger is worth, $60, $70. I don't even know what it's worth anymore. I don't follow it, but whatever. Say it's worth $70. Well, to somebody else, they might be like, I don't give a shit. I'll pay $150 to get that game. Now this guy is willing to pay that, which means like someone else is willing to pay that. So for me, it was like a collector. I mean, I already have the game, but it's like, well, I know that game is like worth $70. Well, it's like, say there's like all these auctions finishing at $150 because people don't care anymore. They're older now. They have this disposable income. They don't give a shit that the game is worth $70. They want to play it. They want to have it in, again, and they'll pay whatever they have to pay for it. And that's really what fucks up a lot of things for people collecting.
Because they will they'll keep bidding it up. They will.
One thing that really makes me kind of giggle, like it makes me schoolgirl giggle, and that is the people that collect for value, and they get a game and, they put it on their shelf, they post pictures, they talk high and mighty about having this rare game, and then it comes out as a digital release and the value just falls down to the ground, or it gets a reprint and the value drops down to the ground. I love it. It makes me laugh so much.
See, I love to see that also, because then the hard copies actually start to become affordable. Now, of course, Earthbound hasn't done that, but for the most part, I love seeing that, because, exactly that. All of a sudden, the guys who want to just the guys who want to have them, because they want to have it, because they remember it, they want to play it, we can afford it now. And yes, I do feel that sense of satisfaction too, Sander, when you're like, I spent $400 on this. Well, it's around $50 now.
Yep. And that's why I always tell people never depend on any sort of collection to help you retire, because it's not going to happen. Things fluctuate.
Yeah, I remember there was that story that Booch was saying, Zach. Remember when he sold his Mega Man collection?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was basically saying how at the time he sold it, the collection itself was, he was like looking at it as something as value, but there were games that he loved, but for some reason or another he was looking at it as something of value, and the price just sort of dropped dramatically. He sold it all off, and then the price just went skyrocketed back up again, and he was kicking himself for doing it.
Yeah. Well, the reason it went down, I think, is because the collections came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the anniversary collections came out, there was a dip.
They're going back up.
Every once in a while, and here's a fun topic to segue into. How many of us, and I think it's all of us, are guilty of looking at what we have on the shelf and out of curiosity, eBay checking completed listings? Now, let's make this clear. Completed listings, not what douchebags are willing to ask for, but what people are willing to pay on completed listings for what the value of some of your favorite games are. Because I've done it, and I'm never going to sell them, but I've done it out of curiosity, and there are times where I've just shaken my head and going, you've got to be kidding me. Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't expect anyone to pay me that much for it. I just love it, but I never expected it to be that valuable. Case in point, Guardian Heroes or Power Slave for the Saturn. Dragon Force. A lot of those old Saturn games. Some of my Super NES stuff as well. I'm just looking at this going, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Well, luckily, when I was in high school, I was very, very into the Saturn, and I had bought a lot of Saturn games when I was in high school. I mean, this is over 10 years ago, so the prices aren't anything like they are now. And so luckily, I have a nice Saturn collection, and it's a lot of it's complete, so I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of things that have just gone fucking just crazy. Yeah. One thing I do want to say is that one thing I want to say to all people who collect, who do, who hunt games, who are like game chasers, whatever, is the one thing I go by in like my life, and I find all kinds of cool shit and cool stuff. I mean, maybe not the best stuff ever, but there's all tons of videos on my channel. Getting a nerd on where you can check it out. But like, I never hunt for like there's never one thing on my mind. Like I'm never at a store like I want to find this one particular game. That's never on my mind ever. And today I went to Savers, which is like a thrift store. And as I was just like going through the computer games, I see a copy of like Einhander for like PS1. And I was like, holy shit. And it was a complete. Like I've been looking for that game forever. I was like, holy shit, it's like $3.99. I was like, I'm buying this. And like as I pulled it off the shelf, right? Tomba is behind it, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And like I pulled that off the shelf. I'm like, yo, I'm buying both of these. But it's like I never have any, like those two games are definitely obviously like on my list of games I want to get, but like I never cloud my mind with like I want this. Like I never say like I'm gonna find this or I want to find this anything. I always just look, and if there's something I want, then I get it. I'm never completely into one thing.
Oh, I agree 100%. If I go, I never have a list in my brain. I just go into these shops and I go through everything. If I go to Salvation Army stores or if I go to Value Village or any of those secondhand type shops, I just go in and I look through everything, where they keep the DVDs, where they keep the CDs, where they keep the games. I'll check through the toy sections, the electronics, just in case, just to see. And if I see a PlayStation label, I'm always a bit excited.
Yeah.
In the CDs, or if you see that in the DVDs, in and amongst, you see that little PS2 label, and what's it gonna be?
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. And see, that's how you know, like, you're a gamer, and like someone who loves games for games, not because you can sell it for a higher price. Love it because you're right. As soon as you see that label, you're like, oh shit! Like you see NTSC in the corner, you're like, oh damn, and you grab it off the shelf. That's how you know. You're not a scumbag ass reseller.
And you know what? I can even say this. I was at a Value Village the other day, and it was a Value Village, and I was looking through the shelves, and there was a bunch of DVDs and other such things kind of behind the sales counter. And there was another guy looking at them, and I asked if I could go back and look at them as well, and they said yes. And as we were both looking, he reached up and he pulled out a PlayStation 2 copy of the Mega Man X collection. And I looked over, and I was excited for him.
Nice.
And he was like, oh my God. And I just looked over and went, oh my God. And he said, oh yeah, no, it's mine. I was like, no. I wouldn't take it from you. I'm happy for you, man. Believe me, I've already got it. That's an awesome find. And, nice. I was excited for him to find that. I love it that much.
Yeah.
That I'm always excited if someone else finds something really rare and cool while I'm standing there. Because that's a good feeling, and you could share it. Like, dude, I talked to him about Mega Man for a while. It was really cool. Then he went off on his way and went home, and I'm sure he went straight home and played it. So,
yeah, I could just see he probably just went as soon as he found it.
So, more than likely. And I just, that was so cool. Anyway, yeah, so there's always that thrill of the hunt. You're right. I think you're right. That's the best way to do it is just walk in and look at everything. Just
browse everything.
That's what I tend to do. I have to admit, after like looking at Zach's videos and stuff, I started going a lot to charity shops now. I'm going more and more to charity shops, going in there, seeing what I can find, and if there's anything that I want to pick up. You know, most of my best, I think my most favourite find I had was when I picked up a Sega Saturn for like £15. It's like something like, it works out basically about $35 for the Saturn plus 12 games.
Oh, nice.
As soon as I got it, the guy was like going to sell it. He's like, oh, can you head down to this location somewhere out of London, check the ticket price for the train. All in all, it cost me about £30. So basically, like for the travel to get down there and stuff like that as well. But I was happy. I just grabbed the bag, went home, plugged it in. I was like, yay! Sega Saturn. Just fucking, it looks god awful in terms of like the polygons, but I don't give a fuck. It's Saturn. And I was just like playing all my little games of it to pieces, showed it to the kids, and they were just shaking their head, going, "Why would you play that?"
Yeah. There was this time where I had bought a Stalf on the Saturn from a guy on Amazon, and it was like $20 for free shipping, and I was like, "Yo, I've been wanting to play that game," and it came in the mail, right? And I looked at the bottom of this disc, and it was just like, this would make you cry. You know, how bad the disc was. And I sent this guy an email, and I'm like, look, like this disc looks like you strapped it to the bottom of your shoe and ran a fucking marathon with it. I was like, you need to fucking like refund me my money and have this sent back to you, or just refund me my money and let me keep it. He was like, yeah, whatever, just keep it. And I knew, like, that guy knew it was messed up. That guy knew he was sending me garbage. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knew it was shit. So people are going to try to scam you and rob you all the time. They're never going to try to send you, like, the most perfect stuff. They're just assholes.
Yeah. No, the one thing that kind of interested me about your channel the most, I remember when you first applied to come onto IGG, and I was checking out your channel, the first thing I saw him on the video, and he's like, he had this, like, Super Nintendo cart on him, and he was talking about the label, and he's like, look at his label, it's a fucking piece of shit, you know, this guy, look, he doesn't take care of his fucking games. I was just, like, sitting there, cracking up with laughter. I was like, exactly. And it just showed you how much you cared about that game.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
And it does make me like kind of laugh as well at the same time, because you look at stuff like that. And I was on I believe it was a Happy Console Gamer group, and we had this whole thing, which is a nice little segue actually, to where a gentleman got a car. Now the sticker was damaged on the car itself. It was a Final Fight Guy, I believe. And he replaced the sticker with a customized one. And people went fucking apeshit. Yeah. This dude was getting hate mail. It was getting to the point where he had over like 40 to 50 comments of people telling him to go fuck himself and calling him a scammer and all this and that shit. The dude actually, he didn't have to do it, but he was really nice about it. He opened the car up and showed the serial number on the car to prove that it was legit.
Yeah.
And that's another thing as well. What do you guys think about stuff like that, customizable labels and kind of like customizable carts? Do you think if someone tries to sell a reproduction cart as new, do you think they're the scum of the earth, or have you seen anything in that case?
Well, I refuse to buy, like, if I was ever, like, in the market for, like, Little Samson or, you know, something like that, like a really, like, rare game, I would almost never buy from something like eBay. I just feel like I'm going to get scammed, and they're going to rip me off, and they're going to make something look exactly identical to how the product looks, but it's not official, and it's just shit. So, like, that really goes to my head. I mean, I'm not going to spend that kind of money anyway, but I'm just saying the idea is there, that it's like, you know, I would much rather find a game in someone's basement that looks like shit and has someone's name written on it in marker and needs to be cleaned for a week and has a dusty-ass label, maybe even a little ripped, but at least I know it's real, you know, than buying something on eBay, because I know there was that big thing, I think it was over like in Europe, where people were just making counterfeit games and sending them, you know, to people who are paying these high-ass prices for them.
Yeah, it's big with the Pokemon games.
Oh, it's huge with the Pokemon games. Oh, absolutely.
But it's just not eBay that you have a problem with. I mean, even Amazon, you can go on and you can get priority games. I've had that happen to me where I bought a copy of Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, only to find out that it was a pirate. And the guy wanted me to send the game back, and he said he would do research on it before he'd credit me the money back. Basically, Amazon gave me the money back, so it's just not eBay. But even people who buy from pawn shops have to be careful if it's a pirate or not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in general, I mean, like, buying from the internet, I guess I mean. Like, I'd much rather take something from someone's basement knowing that they're probably not bootlegging this shit. You know, they probably just randomly bought it from a store at one point. Then buy it. I just don't trust. You know, like I buy random things from eBay. Like I don't know if you guys saw one of the newest Getting a Nerd On videos where like we bought the copy of Final Fight, the Famicom copies for like $1 a piece. Like that's one thing, you know. But it's like to spend like $700 on like possibly a roll of the dice. It's like fuck that. No, I'll take my chances elsewhere.
Now, I was just gonna say if you're customizing it for your own personal collection, if you bought a game that had that, like the guy that had the one with the ripped label,
yeah,
if he put that customized sticker on it for his own collection, that's fine. I can understand people being skeptical if he is selling it on eBay, unfortunately in this day and age. And if you are going to sell reproduction cards, be honest about it. Say it's a reprod and accept that you're not going to get your, retirement savings out of it. But be a good person. Do it for the community. Even if you're a reseller, do it for the community. Do the right thing, hey? Because, I don't agree with these people that'll try and pull that shit. But, I mean, I also don't know, and I'll admit it, I don't know enough to be able to spot a fake. I tend to have a lot more faith in people than maybe I should. But I usually prefer not to buy my stuff on eBay unless there is no other way or unless it's something that I know I'm getting the genuine article. Like, case in point, NES games like Snake, Rattle, and Roll that I personally love and have a massive soft spot for. And I'm still trying to get a complete one back. It's going to go for $20, $30.
You're going to hate me.
Much more than that. And I will pay that because I know that nobody's going to make a counterfeit Snake, Rattle, and Roll.
You're going to hate me. I've actually got a copy of that in box.
If I want to get, however, Xenogears, I will want to make sure that it's from a local indie-owned, mom-and-pop type video game store.
Yeah.
Because then I can go in, I can pick up the case, I can look at the cover, I can look at the discs. I'll want to buy that somewhere I know I'll be able to trust, like you said.
Yeah, well, as far as like PS1 stuff goes, I want to say something like Kyla recently bought. We got a couple videos, that haven't gone up yet, but we have one video where she got a copy of Xenogears, and she showed it to me, and I was like, Xenogears came in a double disc case, and that one that you're looking at only comes in a single disc case. So she was going to buy one. It was sure enough, it was only the one disc. So I was like, no, I mean, don't buy it because, whatever, you're missing both discs. Oh, sorry, the other disc. But then she ended up finding another one, and both discs were put in the same case, not on top of each other. It was an actual 2-disc case, but it only had one side of the artwork and the manual and the 2 discs. So it was only missing the other piece of like paper, the other outer side. So there can be some that look they're probably not real or that people are missing pieces, but they could still legitimately be exactly what it is, except it's just missing a piece of artwork. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I do is I actually put all my Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color games in DS cases, and I'd go to coverproject.net and print out cover art, and it's just a personal thing I like to do for my collection.
I just did that tonight, Xander.
It's awesome.
Because I saw your shit, how good it looked on your shelf back there. So I took all my games. I found all my cases from the dumpsters, from GameStop dumpsters, and then I went to my work and I printed out all the covers. I cut them out with my razor blade, boom, and now they're in cases.
It looks nice, too.
It looks fantastic, yeah.
You know what? It's really funny. Back when, this is a funny story. Johnny, I'm sorry if you're upset about my telling this one, but I have to share this. Back when PS1 was the big deal, we both got our systems modified when it was the brand new thing to do. We both went to the shop in Richmond. We got them modded, and we started buying copied games. Now,
right.
A lot of them were import games that weren't coming out here, but I mean, when Parasite Eve came out, we did end up getting copies of it because we were broke. We couldn't afford these things. But he started to be impressed because I became the master of taking like Game Fan magazines and cutting out the ads for these games and then splicing them together with a razor blade to make our own custom covers for them.
Oh, nice.
So we'd have the dual jewel case for the 2-disc games, but we'd just open up, and then I'd cut out and make and glue down and piece together all these different covers like Parasite Eve, and I made one for, oh God, it was Poppin' Tanks. We found a Japanese ad for it somewhere, and all these different games, and I'd sit there with a razor blade, and we'd be playing the game, and then he'd be playing it, and I'd be like cutting together covers for us and stuff. I remember doing that. So it's kind of sad to say that we used to buy pirate games, but I think in the PS1 era everyone did. So
yeah, we did. My whole family used to do that. You know, I got my my brother's PS1 or PSX as they called the grey first version over here.
Yeah.
Well, I got my PS1, the little mini version. I got that modded, but I never knew that the chip on there was kind of at its beta stages. So what happened was the system itself could play copy games. It couldn't play originals.
So that's right, because they started putting in that software to detect the chip, and then it wouldn't run if you had a chip system.
Yeah. So what would happen is like if I put the original games in there, like the actual sort of like proper games, it would say that the game does not recognize disc. Put a copy in there, it was fine.
Yep.
And I was just like, fuck, you know, I'll try to get it removed, couldn't remove it. It's still sitting on my shelf. It's my lovely little console. It's my kind of failed experiment in a sense, because I was sitting there going, oh, you know, that's my console, and I love it dearly, and every time I look at it, it's like, you fucking damn shit.
You're dead to me.
I got mine, and I remember when some of the Capcom games came out for PS1, or for the PSX, the gray one, and they had a screen that would come up saying, this system has been modified, therefore this game won't play.
No shit.
And I was like, so basically, I've paid you retail price for this game, but because I have a modified system, I now have to go out and buy an illegal copy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's an extra $5 for the illegal copy that I can actually play until I get another PlayStation that'll play the original. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God the Dreamcast only needed a boot disc.
Yeah, that was hilarious with that one. That's one of the reasons I got out of that shit, because they loaded everything onto the fucking disc itself. So my brother was it was amazing the software he was toying around with, because he had this software where you could convert like normal PlayStation games, like PS1 games, into Dreamcast games.
Oh yeah,
template, you could modify the controller settings, the button settings, and everything.
Yeah, that was Bleemcast, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was showing me it. I was like fucking creaming my shorts. I was like, how the hell are you doing this? This is amazing. Then I figured out how to do it. But still, I was like, oh my god.
I remember playing Resident Evil 2 on Bleemcast, and it looked so mumuch better than it did on the PS1. Oh my god,
did you have to use the PS1 disc though?
Yeah, but you took the Bleem disc, the Bleemcast disc, right?
Yeah.
And you put that in your Dreamcast. And I mean, this thing was sold openly at EB Games. Before they caught wise and were like, wait a minute, we should be allowing people to sell this on the open market. But you just put the disc in, and it would do its boot up sequence, and then it would tell you to put in whatever PlayStation game you wanted, anyone, and it up-converted and smoothed the graphics.
Damn, that's pretty cool.
And so you could play it with your S-Video off of your Dreamcast.
Right.
With the Dreamcast controller with better graphics.
Yeah, it was so funny, because my brother was a huge Sega nerd, to the point where when my eldest brother bought the PlayStation, he bought the Dreamcast, because he's like, the Dreamcast is going to fucking like destroy everything. And then afterwards, when it was like close to the end of the lifespan, he was pirating like tons and tons of games onto there, using PSX games on there and everything, because he was like just seeing what he could do with the system, what else he could do to expand the lifespan on it. It was amazing. Right. I love the little VMU thing. I was taking that to school and everything.
Dude, that was cool, especially in Skies of Arcadia. I don't know if anybody remembers it. No, I talked about it in the Dreamcast episode a couple episodes ago. How Fiona, what was her name? Yeah, whatever her name was. She had Koopel or whatever. Her like when she fought, she sent that thing to like do her bidding or whatever. That thing was like, he was always like bouncing around the screen in the VMU, and you had to level him up separately than the characters. So like you could find moon shards and feed them to him, So as you were walking around, like he would start, like if you were around a moon shard, he would go faster and faster around the screen, and the controller would rumble. And as soon as you were like on top of one, it would be going fucking ape shit. And then you'd like press A or whatever, and like you grab the moon shard, and you could feed it to him, and he would eventually evolve to like a different, whatever. And I thought that was awesome. It was such a cool use of it.
Yeah, and with Sonic Adventure 2 as well, the Chaos situation, where you could basically modify that, you depending on how you take care of it, the Chaos can turn into good or bad.
On Sonic Adventure.
Yeah. It was an awesome little thing. There's one of those little nuances as well that you can't replicate when you emulate it on the Xbox or PlayStation.
Right, no, you're right, exactly. Or GameCube, for as far as Skies of Arcadia goes.
Yeah. And it's quite funny how, when you look at collections and stuff like this, why people want to feel these nostalgic moments. You look at every little moment that those things bring you, like when we talked about the Silent Hill episode. For me, a lot of my experiences were the first experiences with these types of games. Everybody else has probably seen it when they've watched a YouTube video or two, or I've seen the emulation, or I've bought a special edition version of the game, or the crappy re-release they did with the shitty Silent Hill games, and kind of loses that whole sort of realm of nostalgia. And a lot of people are paying for the nose nowadays because they want to re-experience that. You're not just talking about gaming; you're talking about a part of your life in a sense.
Well, I hate to cut you off, but I was going to say that that's like with my copy of when I play Mario Sunshine. I bought Mario Sunshine during probably my last year or so of high school when I bought Mario Sunshine, and for some reason every time I play that game I think of the band Kiss, because at that summer I was listening to Kiss all that summer because I bought like a couple of new albums. So I'm listening to Kiss and playing Mario Sunshine. So it's almost funny, like when you play a game, it's almost like going back in a time machine. And there's like little remnants of memories that you can be like, I remember when I played this game, I was listening to a lot of Kiss.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah.
Well, I remember when I had my NES, my parents had it set up in the living room in our house back when I was young. It was basically a very open plan from the kitchen into the sort of the informal dining area that was just off the kitchen, and then into the family room where the TV was. And we had our TV even set on a swivel stand so that we could turn it to face the table if there was something we wanted to watch during dinner. So if there was like a big special on, or like a nature special or something like that we all wanted to watch together. But they also had set up next to the TV. My dad had run the TV sounds through our amp and receiver. And he also had a turntable, an old turntable set up on it. And they used to listen to all their vinyl. And when I play certain games, like Wizards and Warriors and Dragon Warrior, the first one, I remember in the summertime sitting there on the floor in that living room while the Beach Boys and Billy Joel and stuff like that played on vinyl, and sitting there playing those games, the sun coming in through the sliding door out to the backyard, and just those moments are like frozen time. And that's what a lot of these games are for me as well, is that golden nostalgia, that warm safety of childhood when everything was okay, when there was nothing to worry about, and you could experience those games and those graphics and that music and that time when everything was as perfect and as beautiful as it could be.
Yeah, and that's why I think where a lot of people get really pissed off with like the reselling and stuff of this content and these cartridges, because they don't think about these memories. No one's going to understand Zach's experiences with Earthbound, for instance. All they see is, I could make $450 off of this. It's like, I'm not going to understand how Rob felt playing the NES. I could probably make some good money off of this guy because this Mark over here is going to be paying for this for it. And that's where I think there's this big divide between collecting and the way that it's kind of, and I won't even say evolved, I'll say sort of devolved into this whole market economy in a sense, where people think they can just buy a game, flip it, and resell it, or certain people will buy these games just to have it in their collection so they can show it off on forums and say, hey, look, I've got this awesome collection of games that I've never ever played.
Right.
I'm going to...
Nope, continue.
Go, Nick.
I'm sorry, I thought you were done. What I was going to say is, in reality, the whole deal about resellers is somebody on YouTube was brought up a point. In a way, almost everyone who plays video games in some way or another is really a reseller. We may have a game that we don't like. We may sell it to add to our collection. But that's a little bit different compared to, like, the reseller who may get a game for free and say, I can sell it for $20, $30 on up. But in terms of, like, when you have, like, the memories of the games, where you have emulation, yeah, it's not going to be the same, but think about it this way. We live in an age where everybody has access to the internet in some form almost. Well, not everybody, you know what I mean. And you have all these kids who play these emulated games that they're never going to have the experience of being on a cart, but they're going to be playing it on their phone, and they're not going to have that enjoyment.
Now, see, that's where I beg to differ. I was about to say, one thing about emulation that I do like about it is the fact that people, and mainly kids that don't have that income that we have, that, you know, kids can't go out and buy a $100 video game. They can experience it. They can, you know, play the Super Nintendo. I think one of the biggest things that I loved when I started YouTube was getting comments from people that are, like, so much younger than me, like getting a comment from, like, some 10-year-old saying, I love the Super Nintendo, and unfortunately they didn't have a system, but they had ROMs and they had emulation, and I think that's awesome. And the fact that, unfortunately, I mean, these games aren't going to last forever. You know, you got BitRot, you got, you know, resellers, people that are hoarding 18 copies of Earthbound in their closet for some weird apocalyptic reason. But with that being said, emulation, I have no problem with it.
I was just meaning more with emulation, like what Rob was talking about, or, you know, what you're talking about. You think back to the days of when you were playing a game and how people feel that emulation doesn't always play right. You're not going to have those memories going to be the same thing. And yeah, it does give kids a chance to experience these games that they've never had the chance to play, but the same token, you really have to think, how many people actually, when they first got a game, really took it for the value that people see it as now? How many people ripped open a box just to get to the game? And that's why we have so many people charging so much for boxed copies of games.
True. It's true.
Yeah, well, travel back in time until when I got Turtles in Time for my birthday, and you see that box get ripped the fuck apart when I fucking threw it in my Super Nintendo console. So, I mean, it does happen. I mean, maybe not necessarily now, but it's like, would I even open a sealed Super Nintendo game now? Probably not, because somebody else would want it sealed more than I would want it opened. You know, like, I could just go buy it open after I get, you know, whatever to someone sealed. I'm not saying go and buy it now for $1,000 on eBay, but I'm saying, like, when the reason I don't have, okay, I had 3 games for Super Nintendo when I was growing up, and none of them have their boxes, but I have all of their manuals, and there's a reason. Because when my parents bought them for me for my birthday once a year, I tore the shit out of those boxes, you know, and I wish I hadn't, but I did, and I tore the shit out of those boxes, and I played the games, you know, all the time.
I did the same thing, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think all of us did.
I can name you, like, stage by stage, me ripping through my Super Nintendo box to get to the console when it was brand spanking new. It's original SNES. It was bought first release. My parents got it for me for my birthday / Christmas present because, you know, my parents were poor, so they decided to basically give me that console for both. But I got a beautiful copy of Bart's Nightmare, Super Mario World as well, and I played the shit out of those games. I was glued to the TV. People thought there was something wrong with me because I stayed up 3 nights in a row playing it without any sleep.
My parents actually threw out all of my NES game boxes. I had the manuals, I had the cartridges, but they went out and my mom decided, that's it, I'm sick of the clutter. She went out and bought a bunch of those brightly, like, neon-colored plastic clamshell cases. Just, they were like 99 cents a piece, they had the little Nintendo logo on them. She bought, like, a ton of them, one for each of my games, took out the game, took out the manual, put it in that, and then threw out all the boxes.
It's weird because those aren't, like, any thinner than the regular boxes.
They were shorter, and they stacked easier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's true.
And pissed me off to no end because now, although I have all of my original NES games except for the only time I ever traded in games, I just threw up in my mouth a little, was when Street Fighter came out for the Super NES, and I traded in like 6 games so I could afford Street Fighter. The day it came out.
What were the 6 games that made you throw up in your mouth?
One of them was Snake, Rattle, and Roll. There was, to this day, I think Snake, Rattle, and Roll. I think Godzilla King of Monsters was one of them. I can't remember all of them. I just remember that it was the only time I ever did it, but they were all cart manuals only. But it breaks my heart now to think that I did it. It was the only time I've ever done it.
Yeah.
But I was so mad when she got rid of all my boxes because now I'm going out and trying to find boxed copies, complete copies of all of those games to replace them. I have card only. I did get a card only Snake, Rattle, and Roll eventually. I want to get it complete someday. But yeah, it broke my heart when she did that, and I'm still pissed. She, except for my Mega Man games, she never touched those.
You don't touch Rob's Mega Man games.
I never kept those downstairs. They stayed in my room on my bookshelf. Even then.
Locked up with your Playboys.
Now, as a matter of fact, my Mega Man 1, if you look at it, that is the weirdest case of reverse engineering a complete copy of a game ever. And yet every piece has an insane memory. My cartridge came from my neighbor next door, who was actually a complete douchebag. But he sold me his card-only copy of Mega Man 1 for $20. And I gladly paid it, and I was in high school, and I was like, yes! The box and the first manual I had for it came from a video game and video rental store called Classic Video. It used to be in my neighborhood, and I used to go in there all the time. And when you rented NES games from them, they had all the boxes pinned up on the wall, but they had a photocopy of the cover of the box that was glued to a piece of cardboard and then wrapped in plastic. And then that was hung on a peg, and you had to take that cover off and hand it to them. They'd go in the back, and they'd bring out a Ziploc sandwich bag that had the cartridge and a photocopied manual in it.
Yep, same with me.
So I got the box and their photocopied manual when they closed down because someone had stolen the cartridge. But I got those 2 pieces. So my box has like thumbtack holes in the back, and it's in rough shape. But it's that box from that store where I first played Mega Man 1. And then I have the photocopied manual still. That's all dog-eared from hundreds of people renting it. And I found an actual manual at a little retro shop in Victoria years and years and years ago. And the guy only wanted like 50 cents for it. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give you 50 cents for a manual. Awesome, thanks, man. But that was just bizarrely building a complete copy for myself out of one that I never had complete back in the day. So have any of you guys ever done that? Have you ever built a complete out of one that you had only card only?
Oh yeah, I've done that before. Like I've went to flea markets before and bought NES games, and they would have like manuals to other games that they didn't have. They just had manuals there, and that would almost like become like a new scavenger hunt. I'm like, I have the manual. Now I must get the game.
I did that recently, like within the last year. I had Final Fantasy VI on Game Boy Advance, which is Final Fantasy III on Super Nintendo, which is actually my favorite game of all time. And I had just the cart for Final Fantasy VI Advance, and I was on a website at one point, and they had the manual box and insert for like $5, and I bought it, and I completed it. I completed that. So
nice.
That game rules. If you guys haven't played Final Fantasy 6/3, whichever system you're playing on, play it. Get it.
Don't worry, we're going into overtime in a little bit, guys, so it's all gravy. Ladies and gents, if you want to call in quickly or send any more messages or anything, or ask any more questions, you can do, but you can leave some messages on the Happy Console Gamer forum, of course. Facebook.com, I Got Gameplay as well. And just stay tuned for the archive session, those who are going to join us for that. So you can listen to more of us talking about game collecting with our lovely host, Robman. So,
all right.
Yeah, for me, it was a different sort of thing. I think I built some of my SNES collection from purchasing the SNES stuff from other people, because there was a guy who traded. There was a game my brother had in his collection that this guy really wanted, like, badly. And this is before game collecting became this whole sort of like market economy in a sense. And he traded him his Japanese SNES for a single game. I forgot what the game was. I think it was Golden Axe or something like that, for the Genesis. And my brother got another Super Nintendo, and what we did is we migrated the games from that collection to the collection we had, and that had a few boxes and stuff that we were able to sort of chop and change and migrate over. But I've never been sort of on the lookout for manuals or boxes and cases and stuff. What about anybody? Yeah, what about anybody else here? What about you, Nick?
To be honest, I mean, I really never tried to get a complete collection, a complete box, anything for a game, because to me, the game is what matters the most. If I can get the manual, yeah, that's fine. But I got to a point where I had more boxes, more manuals than I needed, so I just actually ended up taking inserts out of my DS games, throwing the box away, but keeping the manual and the cover art. But to me, it's kind of ridiculous to spend a large amount of money even for a box for a game without the game.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, the game is really what matters most for me as well.
No, it does, but like there's certain things like, okay, when I met Kyla, it's funny because like a bunch of the people that I knew had known Kyla for a long ass time, and I for some reason never met her. I don't know why, but anyway, I met her through friends, and she was into games, and I kind of like mentored her, and be like, yo, this is the way I collect. Do whatever you want to do. And it's like when I walk into a store and I see a PS3 game. Did I talk about this? I don't even know. When I walk into a store and I see a PS3 game with no manual, no box, I'm like, I have fucking games from 1987 with a manual and a box. How does this not have one? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell did somebody do with this? Like, why is it in the shape that it's in? And it just pisses me off. So if it's anything recent, like Xbox on, like, I don't know what generation that is, like GameCube, whatever generation that is on, I pretty much, if there's no case, there's no deal. Like, why isn't there a case? First of all, like, what the hell did you guys do with this? Like when I was going to the stuff, I found the Einhander and I found the home, but it didn't have a manual, but it had the game disc and it had the back artwork, and I was like, I mean, they're $4 a piece. First, I'm going to buy it anyway, but it's like, I can live without the manual or whatever. But like, I'm willing to buy a bunch of things, individual, like Nintendo, Genesis, not Genesis, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64. I'm willing to buy all card only, but Genesis, like, why the fuck would you buy card only? It's like the clamshells with the artwork and the instructions are way easier to find than Super Nintendo, And nowadays stuff, it's like, why would you buy a PS3 game that's disc only? Why would you buy an Xbox 360 game that's disc only? And hell, there's probably PS4 games that are disc only, but why the hell would you buy them? Why are they disc only? I don't know, but I have a very specific collecting pattern. But one thing is, I think some people, they're like, hey, I'm here, I'm going to buy something because I came here. And I feel like that is not the way to go. Why fucking buy Madden 2001 just because it's there? Fuck it. No, forget it. Let someone else buy that. Like, the way I feel is like, it's like my game room and like the outside world. And it's like, I'm going to sort through everything the outside world has to bring it to my game room to make it that much better. And yeah, I mean, it takes a while, and it's going to take a bunch of places and a bunch of whatever, but eventually it's going to be awesome. I've been collecting forever, and my game room is fucking awesome, and it's the best thing I could have ever wished it ever has been.
Well, let me ask you guys a specific question, actually, especially direct this at Rob as well. What do you guys think of YouTube collectors? And I don't mean like, some of the guys that we all sort of similarly watch to. I mean, going from the spectrum of good and bad. Do you think this kind of has directed the market in the way that it's gone now? But
yeah, definitely,
yeah.
Big time.
Okay, so specifically though, say for your instance, Rob, you're one of the things I liked about you guys in the Happy Console Gamer, for instance, you basically showed your collection off. You weren't sitting there going do pick up videos and go straight out there and oh, no, I'm going to buy this and look at this game. I'm going to look at the deals and stuff like that. But from now I can see like collection videos or pickups and stuff have become a dime a dozen. Depending on what people do, some people just basically come in and say, hey, look, I've got this game. Look at it. Looks nice, doesn't it? Yay, it came with this limited edition figure. It's amazing.
Yeah.
What would you say about those videos in general? Do you think does it help collecting? Does it help you sit there and think, oh, I want that? Or does it hinder it because it's driving up the price of all these games? It's turning the market into what it currently is in its current form, and is overpricing everything because these videos exist.
Well, I think there's a couple of things involved here. Number one, people who are just showing off the stuff that they bought today, they want to show off the stuff they bought today, and they want to say what they paid for it, and they want to share their excitement from their finds in the day. That's fine. I have never had a problem with that. And I think that in some cases, the increase in price is sort of an unfortunate side effect of some games being discussed on YouTube. And I mean, I don't want to say, well, we did this or that, but I did notice that after our Guardian Heroes episode came out, the price did go up a bit on eBay for copies of Guardian Heroes. It had a bit of a jump. And I know that when big channels do a review on retro games, for a while, because it has been brought back into the main consciousness of retro gamers, the prices can jump on eBay and on auction sites, stuff like that. And that. I think that in a lot of cases, when you have reviewers that are wearing those rose-tinted glasses and feeling that nostalgia and gushing about these games, that can cause all those old school... Hey? Well, rose-tinted reviews, yes. But that can cause all those old school gamers out there, or the people that are interested in retro gaming, watching to go, oh, that game looks so good, I want to get it now. And that can cause an artificial inflation, because then they're all competing with each other on eBay and stuff to try and buy it. But don't know as I would directly say that the people who are like, oh, look at this, I bought this and I paid this much for it, I bought this and I paid this much for it, are necessarily driving up the price, though. Another thing that I do find kind of interesting these days is that it seems like a lot of video game reviewers all stand in front of a shelf full of their collections these days. Which is weird, because basically it's where, I mean, I don't know if Johnny's channel was the first to do it, but I know that he did it just because it was the only place in his house that made sense to actually film, because there wasn't anywhere else that had room for all of his stuff, like the camera and the lighting and stuff. But I've noticed that now a lot of people do stand in front of the shelves full of games or sit in front of them. And I hope that, and I know that a lot of the channels that I do see, it's their genuine collection. It's not like this is a shelf full of boxes because I want to look cool. And I love to see that. And again, I think that the inflation comes from people sharing their excitement over these old games, and then the rest of the people who haven't had the chance to experience it yet rushing out to try and get their hands on it, because they want that excitement that they just saw on the screen. Like, oh my God, that does look amazing. I want to get that now. And I can understand that. And it's kind of an unfortunate, shall we say, an unfortunate downside to sharing this nostalgia and this joy that we all have. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I totally feel the same way, but at the same time, I mean, like, I really love the fact that I've been able to find the channels that talk about that stuff, because, like, a great example would be the E-Series. I never knew about the E-Series until I watched you and Johnny talk about it. I was like, I never really grew up with the TurboGrafx, and, I think that was one of the first videos I watched from him, when he was talking about E's, and I was just like, man, what is this? And I watched it, and I was like, man, I want to play this.
I personally sometimes wonder if he's directly responsible for the resurgence in its popularity. Personally. That's me. I wonder that, because he was the only guy that I knew of that series, even when we first started hanging out, and he's always gushed about it so much. And even in the early days of YouTube, nobody knew what the hell it was. And now it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's true. It's like...
Surprise, motherfucker!
It's actually true. I was like, after I saw Johnny's review of the E series, then I started seeing loads of other channels like popping up with it, and one of the funniest ones was GameSack, because that was the one where they had Johnny sort of guest on that episode, and then they like basically quote unquote like raided his house. But yeah, you know, they're talking about that. There was a whole differentiation of the name and stuff. And I'm like Xander, I want to get my hands on it. And the funny thing about it as well, until I actually sort of got involved in YouTube, until I started watching programs like the Happy Console Gamer, for instance, I had no idea about these other consoles. For me, it was always Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Mega Drive, you know, Master System, NES, and my spectrum around these consoles. The only thing I knew outside of that realm was the Atari Lynx, which was actually quite funny because I remember when my neighbour used to have one of those, and the battery used to die. I was like, oh, look at this, 16-bit graphics and handheld. Oh, the battery's dead. I need to go and recharge that. He was going through batteries like a fucking motherfucker with that thing. But I never knew about any of these other consoles until I got wizened up from watching all these videos and seeing other people's experiences. And you know, they did make me want to buy them. Then I saw the price and I was like, oh, too rich for my blood. I'm never going to be spending £200 to £300 on a retro console. It's just, I can't do it. It's one of those things you just sit there and you're biting your fingers thinking, I really want that Turbo Graphics. I really want that console, but I can't. I can't, by any good sense and purposes, spend £250 on that console that doesn't have warranty, that probably can crap out with me on a couple of days. That's kind of a crapshoot if that's literally gonna outlive its lifespan. So, you know, that's the one thing, that's when you're buying new, at least you have your warranty, you have your consoles that you're playing on the Xbox 360. If that dies, I can take it back and get a new system. You know, it's with these consoles that you don't have that. So what about everybody else? Zach, what about you? What do you think about collector channels in a sense? You do one yourself, of course.
Yeah, well, one thing I love about channels that kind of show pickups and stuff like that is there might be games that people don't even know that they even exist, or even that they're good. You know, it's like there might be like, I remember one game that was a hidden gem, like RacketBoy.com does like a bunch of hidden gems. You can pretty much Google like Racket Boy, PS2, Saturn, Genesis, Super Nintendo, NES, whatever, and there will be a hidden gems list of games. And I remember like one of them was like for PS2, it was like Kim Possible or whatever. I mean, I've never seen the show. I'm a little old for that kind of shit, but
my kids love that show. They love it.
But the game was like, yo, this game is good. It's like, you know, just because it's a Disney game, or I don't even know who the hell makes that game, but it's like, you know, just because it's stamped with this whatever brand, don't think it's just trash because it comes from them, because they're just trying to like push something out. Like, it's a good game. It's, you know, it's a good platform or whatever it happened to be. And that's one reason I love pickup videos, because first of all, you might get someone who, you know, they played the games and was like, you know, I've heard horrible things about this and I actually like this, because if you think about a game coming out, someone somewhere has to have at least liked it. Someone somewhere has liked it. I mean, I've heard some horrible music and people are like, yo, I love that band. So I'm like, okay, you're that one guy that, you know, bullshit. And, you know, it's like I'm trying to listen to like metal that is like, it takes like, you know, an educated brain to create, and you're listening to this bullshit and you like it. So that means someone somewhere likes everything. And yeah, so I like the fact that people show what they're getting, because it could, first of all, you could have forgot about a game. You could have forgot that something even exists. And now you're like, oh shit, I forgot that did come out. Yeah, actually I do want that. Next time I see that, I'm going to pick that up. Or like, oh, that is good? Oh, cool, yeah, next time I'm going to pick that up. I just feel like watching pickup videos, you know, not only kind of, it gets you kind of staying, you know, in sequence with game collecting, because like one of my top tips with game collecting is, you know, be educated on the subject. You know what is worth $5 or even 5 minutes of your time. You know what's worth that. And if it's not worth that, then, you know to walk away. When I watch pickup videos and people are buying Madden 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for $5 a piece, I'm like, Why? Why the fuck did you buy that? Like those are drink coasters. Like, just like have, and I'm not trying to just say that, buy everything for a good, because it's expensive or whatever. But what I'm saying is like, you buying, 10 copies of Madden, it's just, you could have put that money towards something else that you wanted, don't pad the shelves, when you could just, instead of like having something you'd rather. Like, one thing Kyla always says is like, she doesn't have the biggest game collection, but she doesn't have any shitty games in her collection. There's no sports games. There's no shit that she's never going to play. There's stuff in there that, if it's a rainy day and she's just chilling up there by herself, she'll throw in and try it out. So that's a big thing. It's like, don't fill your collection with shit just because it's cheap. Just, wait until you find things that you want.
I will say one hidden gem I'll mention on this show, and it's on the Wii, and that's Batman the Brave and the Bold. That's actually a really good game put up by WayForward, and it's very, very much like the NES Batman game.
Ooh.
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, I may end up having to get that someday.
I think you can get it for like $15.
Nice.
I don't even see it.
I'm going to look it up too.
Let me take my safe search off. Oh, wait, there's a dick.
Well, good night, everybody.
So now we know why he actually watches all the time.
Yeah, no, I'm just Googling dicks. So this is like from the TV show.
It's from the show that was on Cartoon Network. It was really campy. Very kid-like.
I don't watch Batman, so.
But yeah, it's a good game. It's a really good game.
Oh, good.
Yeah, throw that in there.
The launch trailer coming up now.
So, let's go on to you, Travis. What do you think of collectors' channels? Travis?
He's in eBay mode.
Okay.
He's getting Shaq Fu.
Yeah. Nick, what about you?
I watch a lot of people who do different types of collections, and one of the reasons why I honestly think that they drive up the price really is that if you get the person who doesn't talk about how much they spend, like I won't do that. If I do a pickup video, you guys don't know how much I paid for it. The reason being is, first of all, that's between me and whoever I bought it from. But second of all, you see somebody goes, I bought this rare game. You put the word rare in there, it's going to make people think, oh, I need to get this game. And you're going to say, I paid this much for it. Well, a reseller watches that video. They're going to be like, oh, well, they pay that much. I can pay this much. So in a way, yeah, I mean, I think it's unintentionally causing price increases. But to me, if you have a complete collection of every single PS1, whatever its system, that's fine. But for me, I'm always going to buy what I'm looking for, what I'm interested in.
This is the conversation I've always wanted to have. Because the one thing I pride with my channel is that I tell everybody everything I ever pay for the games that I buy. And people say they send me well, what about resellers? Are you fucking kidding me that you think resellers are watching my channel instead of just going to video game price charts and fucking pricing their games from there? There is nobody taking the time to watch my channel who's going to resell games instead of just going to a fucking price charting thing. I tell everybody what I pay because I'm not ashamed of it. I never pay a lot of money. I find my games in thrift stores and I find them on Craigslist for cheaper and people just wanting to get rid of them. So I've never understood the argument of that don't tell people what you pay because resellers are going to hear it. I don't follow that.
The reason why I primarily do it, and I'm not going to give a lot of information on this, and my reason for my belief on this is, unfortunately, I know someone who is a reseller that uses eBay and other internet sources to price stuff and then jack the price even more because they figure that, oh, well, somebody paid so much on eBay for this. Well, I'm going to get a lot more. And so to me, it's just keep it quiet because you don't know who's watching, who's going to try to try to increase prices on something. Because I feel if you're a gamer and you're selling games to other gamers, you should be reasonable and sell it to that person for a fair price. You don't go and say, I'm going to charge you 4 or 5, 6 times more for this game because somebody paid this much for it. It's because of that reseller. That's why I don't discuss that.
I still don't see what that has to do with anything. It's like, there is a value of a game. You know, no matter what title it is, there is a value. So who gives a shit how much I paid for it? Is the question I'm asking you. Why does that have anything to do with, you know, anything?
It's really because of the fact, like, this reseller, they basically went onto eBay and they saw an item they had for sale. So they went and they decide, well, I'm going to sell it for more money because this is what this person got on eBay. And I know eBay is different from YouTube because everybody out there, and like you said, you're only one channel.
Yeah.
But my deal is I don't like talking about prices because of that, what that person does. And sometimes when I deal with a fellow YouTuber or somebody on Facebook, you know, I don't want to say this is how much I got from this person because somebody could go back and say, well, wait a minute. You know, you quoted me a higher price than what you quoted that person. That's also why I keep it to myself.
Yeah, I guess I just don't see it. It's like, you know, I'm not an asshole who tries to give someone like a penny for things, but it's like, you know, when when I'm going at tag sales and stuff, it's like I'm not trying to like rob people. You know, they just say like, you know, whatever, games are $3 a piece. So if I find Final Fantasy 3 at $3 a piece, I don't give a shit. That's what I found it at. You know, I'm not going to pay $50 for the fucking game. So it's like, I just feel like when people say like, oh, I got a good value on it, they're paying pretty much MSRP for it. Not obviously MSRP, but market value for it, I guess. So it's like, I don't know. I just feel like if people in, you know, resellers, I understand what you're saying. Like if they're saying, you know, if this game is worth $50 and I can get 45 for it, or opposite, if that's what you're saying, if I can get 55 for it off people on eBay, well, I'm not buying anything on eBay, so I don't give a shit what the whole market over on eBay is. So if someone wants to come to my channel and hear the shit that I paid for it and mark theirs as such, so be it. But I don't know. I just don't understand. You know, I've gotten so many emails of people saying that, like, why do you say how much you pay? You know, you just fuel resellers. I don't understand still, even on this conversation we're having, how the hell I fuel any reseller because telling how much I pay for something.
I think it's the mentality of the fact that people, I want to say we categorize resellers as people who are greedy and only looking out for themselves, versus, like I said, you do have people that do resell so they can, you know, add to their collection. And I think especially within the gaming community or any community, when you talk about how much you pay for something, then people are going to think, oh my God, you know, you're going to cause this price increase because you just said you paid $45. But like I said, there are people that add like words like rare to it, and those people are the problem because I think when you add certain words, it's you're not causing the problem directly, but when people hear the word rare, they're going to think, oh, my God, I can charge more money for this than anything else. And I think that's where that mentality comes from.
That's true. That is very, very, very true. Xander, what about yourself? Because we haven't heard from you yet in terms of this.
Just about collecting videos, like collection videos?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a double-edged sword. I mean, I think it's a cool tool for people to reconnect with classics or find out about games they didn't know about, but I can also see the cons of it where it could, you know, bring resellers or, you know, people finding out something's rare and they're not educated and try to charge, you know, $180 for Super Mario Duck Hunt.
Yeah, it was a fun thing as well. I was checking out I used to check out Pat NES Punk's Flea Market Madness videos. And every time I saw one of those videos, there was always like this one guy who would be comparing prices on eBay. It's like he has his phone with him. He asked him how much the game cost. The guy would go away, over to the back for a second, check on his phone to find out how much the going rate was for that game.
Yeah.
Come back and then quote a price.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time.
You know what? And oh, sorry.
No, but to me, it's like, okay, if you're going to run a game store, at least have some fucking knowledge of anything. You know, it's like this one game store I used to frequent for a while, you know, it's like you go in there, it's like you could show them a copy of like Mario Bros. Duck Hunt. They're like, oh, you know, let me go check what that's worth. And they charge you like $1 cheaper. And it's like, why the fuck am I even buying from you? I had to waste the money to buy the gas to come out here and the time. I could be shopping at my house on eBay and not having to fucking go through this bullshit. It's like, that's why whenever I go into a place and if I walk into a game store and there's no price tags, I just leave because it's like you haven't even you're running the store, but you haven't even taken the fucking minute to price anything in it. And I understand that they're saying games fluctuate. I don't deal with that shit because when people are going with they're going with eBay values and all this kind of shit. And some people say if you want eBay prices, sell on eBay. And one time I walked into this game store, and they're one of the stores I'm talking about that doesn't price any of their things. So when you go in there, you don't have a clue what anything costs, which is annoying in general to a consumer. And second of all, the guy was saying he's like, yeah, a lot of game stores are closing down. I mean, picture if this one closed down, you wouldn't have anywhere to get games. Yes, I could find places to fucking get games. If you close down, you will not hinder my life in any way because you guys are assholes. Forget me telling people what I pay for on the internet. These motherfuckers are the douchebags, the ones jacking up the prices. It's like when I buy something on Amazon, it's because I just can't find it around me anywhere. So it's like when this guy's just going onto Amazon for some common ass game, that I just want for my collection and I want to play. That's the shit that's pissing me off. It's like, I'm allowing you to be the game store that I go to and the place that I take my business to, and you're treating me like some fucking asshole,
Now, there was a shop that I went to locally, and I've been there twice, and I have not bought a single thing. I went in the first time, and they had a copy of Ys Books 1 and 2 for the TurboGrafx CD, and it was just the jewel case, manual, and the disc. And so I said, how much do you want for this? And again, no prices. And the guy said, just a minute. They went in the back, and he's typing, and I could see through the back door. He went on eBay, and he looked at the prices. He came back and said, I couldn't take less than 60. And I said, what? Are you serious? He's like, yeah. I said, you know what? I'll tell you what right now. I'll give you 40. And I'm not going above that. No, I couldn't take less than 60. And I walked. I went straight home. I went on eBay, and I went and typed in Ys Book 1 and 2. And then I went to completed listings. Because that's what he was looking at. And they were like 40, 50, 60 bucks. People were asking for it. And then I went to completed listings, 20, 25. And I was like, you could have had a very good sale there and made a good chunk of money off of that. But instead you decided to try and the second time I went in, I went back, and I had my phone. Asked him what the cost of another game was, and then he went in the back, and I Google searched it at the same time, or I eBay searched it too, and I went to completed listings. He came back and said, it's going to be this much. And I said, really? Because this is what it's actually selling for on eBay, so if you're going to price your games that way, you might want to look at what people are willing to pay, not what people are willing to ask. I'm not coming back. And I walked out, and I haven't been back since.
Yeah, it's just bullshit, and then, that one guy was saying, he was like, game stores are going away real quick, and, they're never going to be back, and, we're a dying breed, and it's like, yeah, you deserve to be a fucking dying breed because you're a bunch of fucking assholes. At least when I go into thrift stores, things are priced. When I go into this actually one game store, even in Chicopee, I mean, they might not be the best prices, but they're fucking priced. So when you go there, you know what the price is, and it's that kick in the balls when they go to eBay, when they go to Amazon, when they go on the internet. It's that kick in the dick. That's just like, fuck you. You didn't just give me a higher price. You kicked me in my balls, and that's why I'm not buying from you. Because fuck you. That's why.
If you ever come out this way, there's an awesome shop. Everyone should know by now. If you know who I am, you should know about Game Deals. Talk to Brian in there. He's got a really good stock and really good prices. But another shop out by where I live now, out in Langley area, called Willow Video Games. And this place has been around since I first got my Nintendo. And they're an independent-owned video game store. They actually still rent, you can rent DVDs and Blu-rays from the store. They still do that. Physical media rentals. It's amazing. Wow. They also still rent games. Holy crap. But they have some of the most amazing selection, and their prices are good. They're genuinely good in there. That's where I found that Master System 2 that I gave to Johnny, North American Release Master System 2. I didn't even know those existed here. And yet, they had one, and they didn't charge that much for it at all. I think it was $25 for the console complete.
Oh, nice.
Insane. And they price everything. and I've been dealing with them forever and ever and ever, and I've gotten to know the new manager really well as well. But I mean, they are a class establishment because they will, if old NES Complete or cartridge only, whatever, if those games come in, they give a fair value, and then they only mark it up by like $5 to $6 when they resell it. Mm-hmm. Because they know that the retro games are not their bread and butter because they do all the new consoles and the new releases, and they will accept pre-orders, but they will always put in an order for 2 to 3 times what their pre-order is to make sure that they have lots of new copies for anyone that walks in off the street on launch day, which puts them above GameStop in my opinion as well. But they do this for the gamers. They actually do this for the gaming community. They make a bit of money on it, but they know mostly they want these games continuing to be affordable and to be circulated into this community. So I have so much respect for that store.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing about it as well. It's due to what's good for the gaming community, and I don't think we actually hear that enough anymore. You know, the gaming community now has gone to the point of, let's see how much money we can drain these fuckers from. If you're looking at game collecting, if you're looking at like mobile app games, for instance, as well, and the prime example here were basically microtransactions, which I think is another dirty word that I don't like to say.
Ooh.
And, you know, game companies are now looking at ways to sort of filter the money down. How much can we get a bit of extra from? How can we upsell them without actually having to talk to them? You know, how can we, and the same thing with these game shops as well, how can I make money off of that game? Oh, it's a retro game, so I'm going to buy it anyway. Yeah. I don't know what the fucking value is of that, but I'm going to buy it. And as soon as someone comes in, I'm going to just check on my phone and see how much that game is. They're not doing a service to anybody but themselves. They're trying to use it as a way to make money, to financially secure themselves in a way and make a profit off of something, again, where they have no business about being. And I hate the ones with the phones because they're the guys who basically sit there and think they have no idea what these cartridges are worth. They have no idea about the games themselves. They'll just look at an advert somewhere to see if they can actually find a price that they can either match or that they can actually add like $20 or $30 on top.
No, you're right, but it's like nobody is asking you to give these games away for free. It's like, just don't be an asshole. You know, like when I've lost track of what videos we've done by this point, but there was a video last week where like I got Darkstalkers and it was $8, but it was like complete and everything, and it was in really nice shape. And like the week before, I had asked the guy, I was like, "Yo, how much for Darkstalkers?" And he was like, "Oh, $20." I was like, "Oh, fuck you, I'm not going to pay you $20 for that." And then like that last week when we did the video, I was like, "Yo, how much for Darkstalkers?" And he was like, "Oh, $8." And I was like, "Okay, I'll definitely give you $8. I mean, that's reasonable. I'm not trying to get you to give it to me for free. I'm not trying to, fuck you over. $8 to me, that's fair. I'll pay you $8. You know?" So then I had it, and that was that. But I don't know. I just don't like it when it's like, how can you run a business where you don't know anything about what you're selling? You have to go to the internet for it. It's like, that's like internship shit. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, oh, well, by the way, how do you make this website? Let me check my book real quick, or, go on the internet. That's internship shit. Or like if you're a nurse and you have to use a book because there's a billion different things that can be wrong with people. But like otherwise, it's like, well, if I ask you, like, hey, I want to buy Mario 3, why do you have to go to the fucking internet to look it up? Just give me a fucking price. You own the store.
Yeah, and you own everything that's in it as well. That's another thing. These games aren't taken from a retailer.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's another thing, actually. Did you hear? I think we talked about this before, and I don't know if we talked about this on the same show that we had you on, Rodman. But did you hear about the reproductions that were being done for? What was it called? The Xenoblade game. That GameStop were basically they were getting these reproduction versions of the games. They were authorized by Nintendo, this third party company, to do these reproductions. Flooded GameStop. GameStop had these cuts, and what they did was they took like all the extra little bits and pieces about it, sold it as pre-owned, and up the price.
Yep, I have one of them. My wife got it for me for Christmas. When they did that with that and Metroid Prime Trilogy.
Yep, Metroid Prime Trilogy. Yep.
Yeah.
Because the new cost was actually lower than the pre-owned cost, so they just stripped all the shrink wrap off it and called it pre-owned.
Yep.
Oh. And then they were able to charge the pre-owned cost of like $68 to $80 or $68, $70. Oh, was it 40? Oh, they eventually dropped it, did they? Okay. Because I know that when I looked at it around the time that was starting up, I saw that the new cost was 40 and the pre-owned cost was like 60.
God.
But apparently Tamara got mine for 40. So, got lucky. But yeah, I did hear about that. And to be honest, I wondered because at the time there was no confirmation of whether they were reproductions or whether they had just sat on a ton of them and hoarded them or what was going on. So, interesting to know that they were technically Nintendo authorized reproductions.
Yeah, because they were basically authorized to mass produce these. Because when Nintendo originally, I believe, produced them, they produced limited quantities.
Yes.
So again, they're kind of like second printings in a sense. And GameStop, from what I was basically hearing, I got the first bit of news from Alpha Omega Sin, and then went on the internet and started searching about this. And it was just horrendous how they could actually go in there, basically rip the game apart, and then like, oh yeah, it's pre-owned now, and trying to sell it at those horrendous costs. It was ridiculous.
And yet, by the same token, you get some game that's a new release, and it's supposed to sell for 50, and they're going to put 40 or 45 on the pre-owned. You say you want their last new copy that they've gutted and put on the shelf, they'll still charge you the new price.
Yeah, that's just.
I hate that. As soon as that shrink wrap is off, it's used.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And you know why I agree is because, okay, if you take if they sell you a new copy with the shrink wrap taken off, and they say, oh, no one's ever played it, so it's brand new.
I know. We went over this last time. It's bullshit.
Oh, we did. Okay, yeah.
I worked there. Yes, they do.
Yep.
Yeah, because you can check them out. You can bring them home.
No, well, yeah, but what I was going to say was if you were to buy a game and open it in front of them and say, I want to return this, I've never been in a system, they'll say, no, it's used because you took the fucking shrink wrap off. So it's like, it's complete bullshit that they have one. And, my buddy used to work there. I know, a couple of people here also used to work there, but my buddy said when he worked there, they were like, yeah, you can just check this out and go play it. And I was like, you know what, and bring it back when you're done, or I don't know how it works, whatever. But, like, the idea is, like, they call it, I don't know if you guys are on Cheap Ass Gamer, but on Cheap Ass Gamer, they call it news. So it's like NEWUSED. So it's like used, but new, but used. And that's the thing, like, but like, if I'm going to get something for real cheap, I don't give two shits if it's open, but it's like, it's the idea behind it. It's just the idea of, like, people being an asshole on eBay. It's the same idea everywhere. It's like, how can you run a business like this and sell something like this? To be fair, like, one time this girl that I was seeing for a while, she bought me a game at GameStop. She bought me Bully, which is an awesome game, and if you guys haven't played it, play it. But she had bought this way back, this was like 6 years ago or whatever. And the copy they had left was an open one, and they gave her like 20% off or 15% off of the game or whatever because it was opened. So you can always ask for that. And if they say they can't do it, it's bullshit because I've seen it actually happen, and she actually had it happen to her. So, I mean, maybe she just because she had boobs. I don't know.
Now,
yeah, maybe because.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it, Robert.
I was just going to say.
He was just about to say. He was just about to say he likes boobs.
Don't we all?
We all love boobs.
No, I was going to say, also, going back to the shops that don't have price stickers,
yeah,
you should always remember that just because they're looking on the internet for the prices doesn't mean you can't haggle. If they're not going to put prices, it's open to negotiation. If you have a price ticket that says $10, it says $10. Okay, it says $10. But if you're not going to put a price on it, I will haggle the crap out. Now, that might be my Scottish blood coming through. It might be. But I'll stand there and go, you want $15 for that? Are you goddamn mind? I've not paid more than $6 for a piece of cut like that. You stinky bastard.
No, but like one thing that's
$15 for a NES cartridge with a ripped label and no box and instructions. You think I just fell off the goddamn haggis truck? What are you, stupid?
No, but like the place that I'm specifically talking about, I remember like I brought them up a copy of like Double Dash and like, oh, that's like $28. And then I brought them up a copy of Phantasy Star episode 1 and 2 online, and they're like, oh yeah, that's like $4. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll take that. They're like, yeah, I'll buy that. You know, so it's like I don't know what the fuck. Yeah, I don't know where they're doing this research. I don't actually have a clue.
Yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles at the moment on eBay is going for $77.50.
Damn.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
You know, I think you'll find that those prices at the on labeled shops depends on how close they are to rent being due.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay, no, I really need to start selling stuff, so yeah, that's really cheap now.
I feel like if they have rent due, they're probably selling on Craigslist, though.
The games or their asses, that's the difference.
I'll take a little of both, please.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I've always loved haggling. Actually, I use it. Oh god, this is so terrible. There's an area of Vancouver known as East Hastings Street, and it's the dirty, bad, scary end of town. But there's a lot of pawn shops down there. And when I was in late high school, I used to like to check in those shops because you could find used games there, and for not terrible prices. So what I used to do though is I'd get my old ripped up pairs of jeans and like an old faded T-shirt and kind of like make myself look all kind of mussed up and dirty and poor and nasty, and then I'd take out however much money I wanted to spend for the day and I'd hide it in my watch pocket on my jeans, you know, a little tiny pocket. And then I'd put $5 in my wallet, and I'd walk into the store, and if there was a game I wanted, I'd be like, "Oh man, I really would like to buy that. But how much is it?" And they tell me I've only got $5. Like seriously, kid, would you sell to me for $5? If they were like, I'd open my wallet and show them I only got $5. I'd be like, yeah, all right, I'll sell you for $5. So I'd buy the game. And I'd be like, thanks, man, and I'd put it in the dirty backpack I had with me. I'd give them the $5, and then when I got it to the store, I'd take another $5, slide it in the wallet, go to the next store.
There's a thing on Cheap Ass Gamer called Siffing, which is cash and faith. And I was at this by my house. There's actually a gas station that sells video games. And I went there, and they had a Dreamcast controller where there's like a transparent black one, and I knew Kyla would want it. And so I'm like, yo, can I see that Dreamcast controller, please? And he's like, yeah, sure. So he brings it over, and it had the matching VMU, and it was $13. And I was like, yo, if you'll do $10, I'll buy it right now. And he was like, all right, sure, I'll do $10. So I was like, yeah, you gotta always haggle. Hell yeah, you gotta do it. Because they'll money talks, man. You tell some guy, I'll give you $10 right now when they want 13, bam, they'll sell that shit to you stat.
Oh, reverse of that. I went through a massive punk phase, and I used to have like a bright green Centurion mohawk, and I had like the big vest with the studs on it and the skull rings on every finger and the big steel-toed boots and everything. And I walked into another sort of mom and pop independently owned game shop that I used to go in all the time prior to my punk phase. I don't think I'd been in there in a while until after. And I walked in there, and I had money to buy. It was 2 PS1 games. I can't remember which ones right now. But 2 original PlayStation games, and they were new, and like I had like $110. I was going to buy both of them right there, bam. And I walked up to the counter, and I stood right across from them, and I looked, and there was just this one older lady working there. And I looked over, we made eye contact, she looked away, and she waited until every single other person in the store had come up to her and been helped and served and left before she even came over to ask me what I wanted. And I was so pissed off by that I took the cash out of my wallet, I put it on the counter, and I said, you see this? I was going to spend this today on 2 games in this store, and I've been buying games here for years. And you know what? You're not going to get this money today. You're not going to get any money out of me ever again, and I used to be in here every other week. So I'm going to take this now, and you lost a customer, all because you didn't like the color of my hair. Fuck you.
Good.
And I walked
Hit
out.
him with it. It's so annoying, man. I hate that shit.
Just because I got a mohawk and ripped jeans, like, you're going to serve every single other person in there? Come on.
Well, it's better than some random person coming up to you and saying, oh, excuse me, how much is this price of milk? I'm not the Indian guy in the store.
Oh my god! I want to see Rob Man with a mohawk now.
I may be able to accommodate that. Hang on. Yeah, I've got a picture of that somewhere. All right, I'm getting my phone. I'm gonna try and put it on Facebook, and then I can send you guys a link.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Continue discussing while I sort this out.
Yeah, okay. So, that's another thing as well. You've got to look at the fact that these stores are basically not bothering on pricing. You can tell these guys don't give a crap. In your honest opinion, though, so Zach, for instance,
yeah,
what would you say would make this market better? What could sort of even the playing field for collectors like yourself?
Well, the thing that honestly evens the playing field is going out and doing your and like shopping by yourself. Like Gamester81 has talked about how, like, you know, he doesn't want to. He's like, oh, collecting for NES isn't fun anymore, and he talks about all this bullshit. But it's like, I respect the guy, and I watch his videos and everything like that, and I think he has a lot of good points on a lot of things. But it's like, maybe you should go out to a fucking thrift store, because if you think that people aren't getting good deals, daily, you're wrong. Because that, or from Craigslist or wherever. Yeah, so it's like, I don't take anything, if people say like, don't bother going out looking for NES games, you're not going to find any good shit for cheap. Well, okay, well, that's you giving up, whatever. I don't, the reason that game collecting to me never becomes overbearing and it never becomes something that I want to walk away from is because it doesn't consume my life. I have a life. I have a work life. I have a romantic life. I have a family life. I have all these different lives, and and in between them is where I take care of my game life. So it's like, I have fine times and I have great scores and everything because I just don't let it consume my life. I've met people who are like, oh, this guy found, Chrono Trigger for $15. Now I'm going to ruin his life because he's an asshole. It's like, fuck you. Fuck the two of you, and don't talk to me ever again. I just hope both of you fall off a cliff randomly. It's like, I don't know. It's just like, it's games, it's whatever. But, to me, it's like, it doesn't consume my life. It's a hobby that I have, and I love having it. But I have a life around it. So, that's what it is. And, yeah.
Okay, Zad, the same question.
I think the main thing is, like I said, be patient on your collecting. If you just got a new bookshelf, don't try to rush out just to fill it up, and do your research. And like Zach said, don't let it consume your life. I've known plenty of collectors that were like, you know what, it's just not fun anymore. And it's just because that's all they did. They got wrapped up in the business and not the pleasure of having a video game.
Yeah, very true. Travis?
I agree. The main consensus here is that, I totally agree that the one thing that was mentioned here in the show, I forgot who brought it up, but when it comes to video game collecting, make sure you're collecting games that you actually love. Not just to collect, just to collect and say, oh, I got this. No, it's just, like for me, I've said this so many times in the show already. I want Castlevania Dracula X, and I know it's just going to take a bit of a time trying to find that. And it's just, you collect stuff that you know that you are going to love and enjoy. And if you just being one of those douchebags who just like collects video games and you have like no knowledge about them. That's another gripe of mine here. I'm kind of sidetracked here a little bit here. That's another gripe of mine. You got people who actually sell video games and have actually no clue about what their true value is, and they just like, well, this is how it sells on eBay, or this on some of these other sites that actually have like these quote blue book prices and all that stuff, and they just sell for that price, and it really hurts the game market. But if you're really truly into collecting video games, just make sure you're collecting what you know that you're going to love, and not just doing it because it's just the thing to do.
Very true. Nick, what about yourself?
Yeah, I agree with the philosophy of collect what you love and do what you enjoy. And one of the things that I've said in the past on my channel is, if you're going to be a collector, put one thing before your gaming, and especially because it's a hobby, put your family before your gaming, because if you cannot pay your bills or anything like that because you're spending more on video games than your personal life, your family, then you need to reevaluate what you're doing and your goals in life.
And last but not least, of course, Rob.
Well, collect what you love. Instead of asking people, is this an okay price to pay for a game? Because that's another one I get that all the time. I get messages. I get private messages. I get emails. I found this on eBay. Is this an okay price to pay? Well, is it an okay price to pay? Well,
so
are you comfortable paying that?
Xander, you've got your...
What's the echo coming from?
Yeah, Xander's mic.
It's whose mic?
Xander's.
Oh, oops. Okay.
How about now?
Better.
Yes, pal.
Okay, cool.
Go for it, Rob.
So, you know what, guys, just collect what you love. Don't ask me if it's a good price. Ask yourself, are you comfortable paying that? Is it worth that much money to you to play that game? It's not a matter of whether that's good compared to what you might get it for, because if you wait, sooner or later, you will find a better price. It's going to happen. Or if it's so low that you're like, I can't believe it's that low, then obviously jump on it. But pay what you're comfortable paying. Play what you want to play. And just, be in it for the passion. Don't be in it for the shelf value. Honestly, that's the, and agreed. Don't let gaming take over your finances in your life. It should be a hobby. It should be something you do on the side. Make sure that you take care of what's important first, and let this be fun. Don't let it overtake everything and become an obsession, because that would be not good.
I totally and utterly agreed on that one. So on that one, guys, as I said, there's a whole realm of caution here in terms of collecting. Collecting can be a great thing. Collecting can be a hobby. And for those of you who keep asking, I know there's instances Xander or Rob had here, or Zach, how much a game should be worth. In the end, you shouldn't be asking those types of questions. It's basically how much you feel that game is worth. If you feel that the game's not worth the price and you're asking them that question, then you know in your heart of hearts that that's just not going to happen. You don't need to ask everybody else until someone gives you a yes. In the end, it's just not won't happen at all. And also, to reiterate that whole thing on family, again, I've got my own family myself, and I'd probably put myself a budget in about £10 to £20 a month in terms of gaming. When it comes to that sort of budget, if something gets too much, at the end of the day, it's either do or do without, and 9 times out of 10 I'll do without. So there you go on that. And let's now move it on, of course, to plugs. So, Xander, why don't you go first?
As you guys know, I do my own podcast, Excess Gaming Podcast, and I've had Rob Man on there a couple times. We gotta get you back on there soon.
Hey man, time man.
Yeah, it's long overdue. But you can listen to Excess Gaming Podcast on Podomatic.com, or you can subscribe to us on iTunes. And also, I have a YouTube channel that's youtube.com/XanderScullion. And I'm trying to do more on my Twitter page, so you guys can look me up on Twitter. That's Excess Gaming Podcast on Twitter, and you can look at all this stuff, my YouTube and my podcast, on the Retro Unlim Network. That's RetroUnlim.com.
There you go, guys. And Travis.
Okay, well, you can find me on YouTube. So you got a couple of channels. You got youtube.com/rose-colored-reviews and youtube.com/rose-colored-let's play. You can find me here each and every Saturday night on the Retro Network with Michael Burhan and all the usual suspects on I Got the Gameplay. And Thursday nights is a very special night here on Retro Unlim when I have the Radio Show, which has been doing pretty well, I gotta say. And it's pretty raunchy and everything, but it's not for kids of any age. So if you are under the age of 17, what are you doing? Listen to my show. But anyways, check that show out, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. You can also find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is TravisScott79. Facebook is facebook.com/TravisScott1979. And part of FanboysAnonymous.com. I've had a couple of articles go up here in the coming past few weeks, and going to be writing some more hopefully real soon. And I'm trying to think of anything else real quick. I can't think of anything. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Nick?
You can find me on YouTube as Nick D. Wolf, or on Facebook as Nick D. Wolf YouTube. Sometimes in my videos on YouTube, I do have a special appearance by Miss Meg, who is my cat.
Zach?
Yeah, you can find me and my co-host Kyla at youtube.com/gettingyournerdon. You can also find us on Facebook, Getting Your Nerd On. You can find the band that I'm in at killtech9.bandcamp.com. That's KILLTAC, the number 9.bandcamp.com. And finally, something that recently has come to life, you can find on Instagram. You can find Kyla, her name is Kiki Buttface. That's KIKIBUTTFACE. So check us out or don't. Check us out or don't. Yeah, check us out.
Of course, Rob.
Ooh, my. All right, well, number one, I'm definitely going to say check.
I think we lost him for a sec. Rob, you there? You can check out Rob Mann, of course, on the Happy Console Game on his YouTube page. You get him Twitter as well, at Rob Mann World. And you can also find him on Facebook if you want to actually add him on there for Facebook as well.
Oi. I'm back. I've had the worst technical difficulties with the stupid microphone all bloody night. Sorry about that. Right. So, first of all, hello. I'm back again. Definitely check out the XS Gaming Podcast. Check out Xander on there. Check out, of course, anything on the Retro Network. I got gameplay. Always listen to this. Also, check out the Retro Domination Podcast. That's our good friends, Tim, Daz, and Mark, and I know I haven't got them terrible with names, and I'm missing a bunch of them, but check them out. Retro Domination Podcast. They're a bunch of our Australian friends who are awesomely fantastic. You can also find their website, retrodomination.com, also under the Console Domination banner. You can find myself and Johnny on YouTube under youtube.com/happyconsolegamer. Johnny can be found at HCG Show, all in capitals. For Twitter, myself, I am at RobManWorld on Twitter. I do have a YouTube channel, but it's just RobManHCG, all one word, and I don't have any videos. That's just every once in a while I pop in and check messages. Find us on Facebook, Johnny Millennium, or myself, Rob Mann. And other than that, if you happen to live in the Vancouver area, you'll probably run into me sooner or later. If you see me, give me a high five, say hello. Don't be afraid to come up and have a chat, because I'm more than happy, even if I'm with my family and kids. It's okay, seriously. So I've seen people that are like, I recognize that guy, but I'm not going to say hello. Please do. It's okay. I don't tend to bite unless you pay me extra. So, yeah, that's pretty much all the places you can see me, and that's probably far too many places. So there you go.
Yeah, that's of course, guys. Check out I Got Gameplay, 8 p.m. every Saturday night on the Retro on the network. Of course, you can check out all the great shows on the network. Make sure that you can add them on Facebook.com/The Retro on the network, and also Facebook.com/I Got Gameplay. You can check out my YouTube channel as well, YouTube.com/The Nerd Genius. Or also DailyMotion.com Nerd Genius as well. I'm on a hiatus from doing videos. I'm going to be starting that up again tomorrow, doing a video on the PlayStation Network and why you should beware of putting your credit card details on the network itself, because Sony's still actually having a few problems. And also, guys, you can just check out my little Let's Plays that I do with the kiddies, because they're currently playing Super Mario 3D World with Daddy, which is awesome. And you can check me out on loads of other bits and pieces as well. I've got loads of projects coming up, loads of things to do, and of course, you can basically check me out on Twitter, Facebook, of course, at Michael Burhan, facebook.com/Michael Burhan.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to I Got Gameplay Radio. Saturday evening at 8 p.m. It is a call-in show, so please, if you have been listening, if you've got a question, a comment, if you want to tell me I'm ugly, please feel free to dial in anytime and hit us with your questions, comments, concerns, stories, or if you request medical advice, I can't promise it'll be good, but it can't be terrible. So, guys, thank you so much for listening, putting up with shenanigans, foul language, stupidity, and in my case, a lot of alcohol consumption. Not that I wanted that advertised, but there you go. If any of you have suffered from any kind of mental strain or perhaps the odd bit of fear or anxiety from listening to this program, we are not to be held responsible. You did sign a waiver. You just didn't know it. All right, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Xander, Mark, Travis, Nick, Zach, everyone, thank you so much for coming on and for having me on. It's been an absolute blast, guys.
Yeah, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, just remember that for everybody on this show, Rob's got gameplay. Have you? Hey,
Betrayal! Betrayal! Betrayed me!